interesting test that may occur today is if he lines up opposite Willie Brown frequently and the Raiders are in man coverage, the veteran Willie, in as great condition as he could possibly be, is still almost 38 years old. And whether that will be a problem could be very pivotal in this game.
Depends on how Jefferson sets him up if he can. The cat and mouse game, if it's going to be played that way, should go to Brown because of his experience. Trying to keep the rookie off balance, not letting him figure things out. But if Jefferson can get to a spot where he can get even with him and burn something to the post or up the field, then it could be a problem for Willie.
And also from the way the coaches talk, I get the feeling we'll probably see Monty Jackson playing some at that right cornerback position for the Raiders on defense today as he begins to get closer and closer into concerted game condition, and that could help Willie by giving him a blow at various stages of the game. We'll be back with more in a moment. We pointed out to you that the Chargers defense last year was the cornerstone of the beginning of their resurgence and carrying them to a 7-7 season. They have some big people in their pass rushing core up front. Fellows like Louis Kelcher at 282 and 6'5", Gary Big Hands Johnson at 258, and then they have a very light, mobile defensive end in Fred Dean and a big, strong guy in Leroy Jones who's 6'8", 265. Monty, I talked to Kenny Stabler before the ball game. He said the Chargers are a very good defensive team, but he feels that perhaps by moving different formations around, they can get the kind of coverages they feel they can take advantage of. They start from one point, and that is, in past seasons, the Chargers under Prothro have seemed to have a philosophy that they will always double-cover Cliff Branch no matter what the formation is.
It's a good attitude, I'll tell you that. Because as Fred gets older, he still has the good moves, and with the decent drops of the linebackers, you can help a guy one-on-one with Fred Biletnikoff. You're going to sacrifice something with Casper, you're going to have to cover him with a linebacker. Maybe they feel that they can get away with that, or if not, Casper will only hurt him short. If you don't shut Cliff Branch down, you know what's going to happen. He's going to catch that 21-yarder over the middle. He's going to catch the good post pattern. He'll get back out to the corner or even get that deep bomb on you and really burn you for 7 points.
Now, when they're double covering Branch, generally that means they're going to take the approach that they're going to cover tight end Dave Casper and maybe the running back with a linebacker in each case.
And it's good for the backs, too. Clarence Davis runs great pass patterns out of the backfield. I defy Woodrow Lowe, Bob Horn, and Don Goody to cover those two people one-on-one.
You think about Dave, the great career he's had in such a short time with the Raiders, and then dropping 2 balls on the goal line at Denver. He was very upset with himself last week about that, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, you know, it's bad enough if you're a mediocre player or a borderline player or something like that. You're disappointed enough. But when you're such a competitor as Dave Casper and you're all pro, and you really let your team down like he did, you know, he really has to be upset with himself, and he let people know that. But again, you know, he's the same guy that pulled a lot of them out of the fire for these Raiders the last couple of years, so you can't get down on him.
And it would be entirely in order to think that there was a particularly extra edge to his dedication for this game today.
I think so, because he never really knows how to take the Chargers, because he has to wait to get into a game to see how they're playing him. He's had some superb days against the Chargers. Then they've come back and played them with the inside out with linebackers and a free safety. They as much as triple team them at different times. So it depends on how they play him today, if they adjust or what, and how he adjusts to them. But it's really, he never really knows until he gets into a game against these people how he's going to be played.
Some Raiders fans may have been concerned that although the Oakland offense outgained Denver 318 to 152 in yards last week, they didn't get the ball into the end zone. First time that's happened in regular season since 1975. John Madden pointed out that but for a couple of dropped balls, it wouldn't have happened, and that his offense did move the ball consistently. But, of course, penalties, some of which were in dispute, but some of which were mistakes, also hurt the Raiders. 68 yards to 10 for Denver. But the important thing is that going back to the preseason, the Raiders haven't scored a touchdown in the last 9 quarters. I don't know whether that's really significant or not, but those who are figure filberts can look to that and say, maybe today is a chance or the time to really blow something open. And on that question mark, Bill King with Monty Stickles back in the booth at San Diego Stadium with a full house of 52,596 awaiting the national anthem, the player introductions, as the Chargers try to gun down the Oakland Raiders, who are 6-point favorites here today. And the Raiders try to fight back from their loss at Denver to open the season. The Chamber of Commerce has fashioned this afternoon in ideal form. The temperature in the mid to high 70s. There's a light breeze rippling Old Glory from behind us, blowing across the field from west to east. The field runs north to south here. the baseball configuration, as far as the actual playing surface, is still in force, so there will be a considerable amount of dirt surface from the 50-yard line toward the north goal line. The Raiders have just been introduced. Their defensive unit was presented, and the Chargers' offensive group is now beginning to take its bows out here in the field. This series shows the Raiders winning 22, losing 12, and tying 2. Until last November, when the Chargers upset them here 12-7 behind a third-string quarterback named Cliff Olander on a day when Stabler was injured in the early part of the ballgame and Mike Ray took over at quarterback. That ended a string of 19 straight games in which the worst the Raiders had against the Chargers was a pair of ties. It ended a string of 10 consecutive victories. The last previous Charger win before that had been in Oakland in 1968 when the John Hadle-Lance Allworth combination was still in fine flower. John Madden is striding the sidelines on the far side during the introductions, and I might add, in reference to the sidelines, Monty, he was very peeved when he walked on the field 2 hours before the game. The wide white border outside the field boundary, which is such a very good marking point for all the receivers, is not marked white. There's just an inside line and an outside line. The league rules say you have a white border. They claim because of baseball they can't do it. Madden says, I don't understand that. We do it in Oakland.
Really could get confusing, too, Bill, for the receivers. As you see right there at the 50-yard line in front of the Charger bench, you have the sideline, the inside line of the white portion, or what is supposed to be, then the outside line, and then about 3 yards more behind that, you have the box where the the players are supposed to stand. So you have 3 lines that could be confusing.
The referee for today is Jerry Markbright, and he has called the team captains together, and we now have the toss of the coin. The Raiders called tails. They win the toss of the coin. So they will be on offense after the kickoff. The Charger defense will look like this in a 4-man front. Left end, Leroy Jones. He's 6'8", 265. Louis Kelcher, 6'5", 282. And Gary Johnson, 6'2", 258, the tackle. Fred Dean, the right end, up against Art Shell, only weighs 228, but he's quick, 6'3". Middle linebacker, Bob Horn. The strong side backer, Don Good, a 5-year veteran. The weak side backer, Woodrow Lowe, in his 4th year at 230. The left corner, Mike Williams, beginning his 4th year. At right corner, 4-year veteran Hal Stringert. Mike Fuller, the strong safety, and Pete Shaw, very hard hitter out of Northwestern in his 2nd year as a free safety. The Raiders on offense at the start of the game after the kickoff will have Kenny Stabler at quarterback, Clarence Davis, Mark Van Eegen, the running backs, Cliff Branch, Fred Biletnikoff at wide receiver, and Dave Casper at tight end. With the left to right interior line reading Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Dave Dalby, Mickey Marvin, and Henry Lawrence. The Raiders will receive, defending the north goal to our left. The kickoff by the Chargers will go from our right to our left from the south 35-yard line.
For the Chargers, number 6, Ralph Benershka.
Ralph Benershka, a draft choice of the Raiders a year ago, who was picked up by the Chargers and had a fine season. Now in his 2nd year, will tee it up. He has a string of 13 consecutive field goals going, 3 short of the NFL record.
And number 35. That must have been a hard decision for Al Davis last year to manipulate young Benershka and their old man, who seemed to work out for everybody.
Art Whittington is back along with Terry Robisky, and here's the kick. High end over end, not real deep. Whittington, the rookie from SMU, takes it on the 4. Left side of the 10, the 15, dashes to the 20, 25, and is upended at about the 27-yard line. He was spilled there by Hank Bauer, a running back playing on the special team. Raiders wearing their black jerseys, silver helmets and pants, black socks. Chargers wear their white jerseys at home this year with blue helmets trimmed in gold, gold pants, blue numerals, and gold trim. Raiders move from our left to our right. The Chargers have already won 1 title as an organization this year. The ungodliest, loudest public address system in all football. Your head rattles around. It's so loud. Branch to the left. Biletnikoff to the right. Stabler back to pass with good blocking. Lays it off to Davis in the left flat. He is hit and brought down by the quarterback Stringert on an excellent play at the line of scrimmage. Hal Stringert, the right quarterback. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Went right into a zone defense that time. The San Diego Chargers rolled their zone to the right side, and Stringer's job that time is just to come up and cover that short flat, but Kenny saw everybody else covered, so he had to go to pass as an outlet.
Dave Dalby over the ball. Branch to the left against Stringert. Biletnikoff to the right against Mike Williams. Stabler giving the ball to Davis. Sends him powering out to the right. He's caught from behind. Can't get around, and he's dropped at the the backside got a piece of him, and then the cornerback, Williams, had a good force from in front, and Davis loses about a yard and a half. It'll be third and call it 12 on the 26.
Boy, Chargers really came out, I hate to say it, charged up. They had a good coverage on the kickoff, hit hard. Swarming coverage on that pass to open the ball game, and now on that run, they really came out to the left, forcing the play back inside and throwing it for a loss. They're really getting going here.
Third and long, slot right, Branch inside Bolitnikoff, Casper the tight end on the left side. Let's see if they'll cover him with a linebacker. Stabler back to pass. Sets up. He's looking for Casper. He lobs it down the left side. He's reached the clutch and gets out of bounds on the Charger 46, beating Don Good by 3 strides. First and 10 Oakland.
Well, you were right, Bill. They covered him with a linebacker that time. And the most amazing thing I've ever seen is that they covered him the weak side, man for man, but their cornerback Stringard in as a free safety because of the slot situation the Raiders had set up. So the Raiders put him into that defense, went to Casper one-on-one with Goody. If Kenny could have gotten the ball inside a little bit more, Casper wouldn't have had to run out of bounds. He'd have had a longer gain.
First and 10 on the Charger 46. Branch left, Bolitnikoff right. Stabler giving to Van Egan, shuffles into the hole. Woodrow Lowe drops in after a gain of 2 at the 44. Trying to get behind the block of Upshaw and Shell, but there wasn't really a lot of room. It'll be second down and 8.
This Charger team defensively really matches up well with that big offensive line of Oakland. One of the few teams in professional football that really does match up with the Raiders in size. Johnson, although stocky, he's still 260. Kelcher, 282. Leroy Jones, you remember him. He's been around for a while. 6'8", 265. Wow, they're big.
Branch to the left, Bolitnikoff to the right on second and 8. Stabler drops straight back to pass. 4-man rush. Fires over the middle. Too high for Van Egan. Running a circle against middle linebacker Bob Horn inside the 40. Just a little high. Incomplete. It'll be third and 8.
One of the things you want to do early is try to get that big pass rush off you. We mentioned how big these guys are. They're good pass rushers, too. I believe they led the league in sacks last year.
They didn't lead the league, but they set a Charger record at 44.
Charger record, and they had 3 or 4 sacks last week, so they really can put the pressure on you. So Kenny can't always go to a screen pass or the late or the draw, as we call it. He's going to hit his backs below the linebackers and in that mid zone to try to take some of that pressure off.
Double wing formation, and they've got Morris Bradshaw on the game and Terry Robisky. Stabler back pump, fires to Casper, crossing pattern to the 35, up, and it's first down. He was knocked down by Pete Shaw, the free safety, and flew through the air to the 30-yard line. 2 big catches by Casper today.
Pete Shaw had to come up from a deep drop, Bill, in a free safety position to make that tackle because Bob Horn and Don Goody, the 2 linebackers, were trailing David. What they try to do is get the middle linebacker and the outside linebacker in between, outside, inside, start to chuck Dave. That time, Dave started downfield, got under Horn, so he was completely free. The 2 guys were chasing him across the field.
Again, Branch and Bradshaw on a slot right. Van Egan and Robisky, the running backs. Robisky, the second back. Belly's outside to the left at the 30. Turns the 20 to 25, down to the 20. Cut back to the 15. Spins away. His hip fumbles, but recovers at the 11-yard line. When Shaw hit him, he was making a full 360 revolution. Left the football on the carpet, but managed to get back to it before anybody else. First and 10 Raiders.
Well, that's a nice run by Robisky. How many times have we talked how he runs that outside angle? He runs towards the sideline. He doesn't belly back. He doesn't go out flat. He just keeps angling towards that sideline, picking up ground. And that time he got around Goody and then up the field. Nice gain.
Branch to the left. Bradshaw to the right. First and 10 on the 11. Handoff on a quick hitter to Van Egan. Fumble, pile up on the 9. I think the Chargers have it. They do. Coming out with the ball is big Louis Kelcher, the left tackle, 282 pounds. A guy who wears size 16 triple E shoes and a 16.5-inch ring size. So the Raiders' budding, blossoming drive ends in disappointment here on the 9-yard line. Charger ball.
Describing Kelcher's speed, he could have stepped on the ball and nobody could have seen it.
Now we'll give you the lineup. Dan Fouts at quarterback. Don Woods and Bo Matthews, the running backs. John Jefferson, Charlie Joyner, the wide receivers. Bob Klein, the tight end, the ex-Ram. First and 10, the ball in the 9. The Raiders had driven from their 27. Handoff here to Woods. trying to crunch over the right side behind the block of Russ Washington. He gets out to the 11 and 12-yard line. The interior line, Billy Shields, 273 at left tackle. Doug Wilkerson, 257 left guard. The center, Ralph Loretta, 250. The right guard, the former Viking Ed White at 270, and Russ Washington at nearly 290 at right tackle.
Bill, I was being distracted over here. Were those boos for Danny Fouts, do you think?
I don't know, frankly. I was concentrating so much on setting the lineup. There was a chorus of booing. I don't know why they boo him. He went 14 for 22 last week.
Not only that, he won a lot of games for him late last year.
Slot left, bounce back, sets up. He looks. He fires one toward the left sideline on a turnout that is caught by Jones, and he's thrown out of bounds by Lester Hayes. First and 10. Charlie Joyner, the veteran from Grambling, with a turnout well upfield in front of Hayes, who had picked him up on a slot formation on the left side. So it'll be first and 10, and now they've got operating room, and they bring Artie Owens into the ballgame with a play for Fouts. They'll shuttle plays into the game with their wide receivers. Sometimes they're back.
Talk about Jefferson taking some of that pressure off Joyner. There's a good example of it where they had to balance out that defense, and that left Joyner on a corner pattern all by himself.
Owens outside in the slot, Jefferson in the slot. Here's a handoff to the fullback, Bo Matthews, cuts over the middle out to the 36. He gained maybe a half a yard, not too much more. Matthews, a number 1 draft choice 5 years ago, who rushed only 43 carries last year. He picked up 10 carries and 49 yards in the opener against Seattle.
He's a bit tough back. I mean, you can get him a little daylight there. He'll get you 2 or 3, especially in the first down situations. The guys you got to shut down, though, are Don Woods and Lydell Mitchell.
Joyner to the left against Brown. Jefferson goes to the right against Lester Hayes. Man in motion to the right is Matthews. Back is Fouts. Sets up. He looks. He fires. The man fell down. Gets up. Makes the catch. It's Jefferson. Hendricks bulldogs him into the turf before he gets the first down at the 45, and a flag is called. John Jefferson.
Bill, I left the play a little bit late. Just as the pass was being thrown, it looked like Jefferson was coming up off the ground. He may have been knocked down by a Raider.
I mentioned that he had fallen, and if he were knocked down, of course, it would be interfered. The Raider defense with Mike McCoy back in a Raider uniform, and Dave Rowe, of course, having been waived, has him at the nose tackle. McCoy flanked by John Matuzak on the left, Otis Sistrunk on the right, Ted Hendricks, strong side linebacker, Phil Villapiano, weak side, Willie Hall and Monty Johnson inside in the linebacking spots, Lester Hayes at the left corner, Willie Brown at the right corner, Charles Phillips, the strong safety, Jack Tatum, the free safety. A measurement on a first down situation here. John Madden, we got a first down indication. John Madden is questioning the official. It is first down, and here's... They declined the penalty, which was an illegal chuck against Lester Hayes. Jefferson recovered from it, made the catch for what is ruled a first down. First and 10. Jefferson to the left against Brown. Out to the right, Artie Owens against Hayes. No score in the early going. Hand off to Woods, sweeping to the left, looking for a block. He gets it on Phillips. Woods gets outside and is run out of bounds on the 50 for a gain of about 4.5. Matthews didn't look like he was going to make the block on Phillips. Then he did, and that gave Woods room to run.
Woods had a little trouble getting outside, too. He hit kind of a wet spot on that baseball diamond.
They wet it down quite a bit today to keep the dust down. I know when I was down on the field, it was a little mushy. Beginning to dry out some now, though.
Really defeats the purpose because of a hot day like this. It's going to dry out very quickly. It's going to get dusty anyway. All you do is make it mushy in the beginning of the game.
Second down at about 5. Joyner to the left, out to the right, Jefferson. And offside was Billy Shields. He jumped about a count ahead. Illegal procedure. The left tackle, a 273-pound, 4-year veteran from Georgia Tech. Flags falling. 5-yard penalty will make it second and 10.
Looked like the Chargers were fouled up from the start. You can usually tell when the tight end flip-flops from one side to another, but Klein that time got up out of his spot on the left, went over to the right, and then Billy Shields went off on the wrong count, so they were fouled up all the way on the left.
Second down 10. Raiders had a drive that looked like it was about to pay off when a fumble by Van Egan killed it. Now to the left, Jefferson against Brown. To the right goes Joyner against Hayes. Tight end on the left side. Back to pass is Fouts. Sets up. Lays it out in the right flat and out and out. And it's caught running down the right side is Matthews Woods. And he's run out of bounds at the 67-yard line of the Raiders. Beautifully timed pass with the linebacker coming out to cover. Woods just poked his nose out in front and Fouts led him perfectly.
Well, the Chargers got a few tricks for that Raider orange defense, too. They read the play perfectly. Monty Johnson had the coverage on Woods, and, of course, he's the inside linebacker, Bill, and that puts him about 2 or 3 yards in a chase position right from the start. Woods got outside, turned the corner, and as you said, Fouts hit him right on the money.
Ball on the Oakland 27, 1st and 10. Joyner to the left, Jefferson to the right. Here's the handoff to Matthews, trying to get outside to the left behind Doug Wilkerson. Turns it at the 25, cuts under the block to the 20, and rambles all the way down to the 16-yard line. He was finally brought down by Brown. Tatum, Hall were over there, but the Chargers moving the ball now at will. They're second down and short. It'll be about a yard to go.
Here's what could happen if the Chargers continue to sweep. You know that the Raiders are a big team. They carry a lot of weight around with them. If they start sweeping left side, right side, it's not going to be too long before people like Matuzak and Sistrunk and McCoy in pursuit are going to get a little tired here. Could have a bearing later in the ball game.
All right, set to go now. Slot left. Back to pass, goes Fouts. He looks, he rifles one to Woods in the left flat, and he's out of bounds on the 9-yard line. 1st and goal to go. Don Woods, the halfback, who caught 7 passes last week against Seattle.
Raiders changed the defense that time. Had Phil Filippiano covering the first back out of the backfield, but with the play fake. And the way Don Woods went into the line, looking like he was going to run the ball, pinned Phil just long enough. Woods slipped out on the flat, and the Chargers are knocking again. They're really taking advantage of the halfbacks on the linebacker.
All right, the Chargers set Joyner to the left, Jefferson to the right. 1st and goal on the Raider 9. Handoff goes to Matthews, crunching straight ahead, plunging down to about the 7-yard line, where he's stacked up by the middle of the defense. Sistrunk made the tackle along with Mike McCoy.
A gain of 2 yards.
Raiders continue with a 3-4. They haven't gone to a 4th down lineman at this point. Joyner comes out. Artie Owens comes in. Don Woods, you know, is a rookie. Was picked up after being waived by Green Bay 5 years ago and rushed for 1,121 yards. He's never played back to that. Owens to the left, out to the right. Jefferson, split backs. Fouts has moved the club well here. He gives to Woods. Power sweep to the right. Looking for a block from Wilkerson. It's strung out by Hendricks, and he's punched out of bounds for a loss back to the 11 by Hendricks and Phillips. So it'll be 2nd and goal. Angels, America's leading do-it-yourself centers and winner of the Retailer of the Year and the Home Center of the Year awards, has 30 stores throughout California and Arizona to serve your complete home improvement needs. Shop and save at Angels. Coming into the ball game now, Lydell Mitchell, the acquisition from Baltimore. They can do so many things with him, Monty.
Do a lot. You think they did a lot with Donnie Woods. Will you see what they can do with Lydell Mitchell, especially running one-on-one with those linebackers?
And, of course, they lay the ball off to him so well.
Yes.
Joyner to the left. Jefferson to the right. Fouts drops back to pass. He sets up. He looks. Hesitates. Fires one out of bounds. He had Bob Klein open but misread it. His primary receivers were covered in the end zone. Klein set up on the right sideline at the 5. Juked his man a little bit. Made a break for the end zone, but by that time, Fouts had decided to unload it.
Chorus of boos for Fouts again, but as you mentioned, Bill, the missed timing. Klein was in the flat on a pattern. When he knew he was covered, he went back upfield into the end zone, but Danny had let the ball go by then. A couple of seconds, if he had to work with, he'd have had a ball in the end zone for a TD.
But Hurst going to try a field goal on 4th down from the 18, 28 yards. Snapped and spotted, kicked terribly. He hooked it, a smother hook to the left. His string of 13 consecutive successful field goals goes down the tubes in a very inglorious fashion. And with timeout on the field, we don't have timeout. Thought we did.
What happened?
But we do have a 0-0 ball game, and the Raiders come out of a narrow escape where it looked like a sure field goal would give the Chargers a 3-0 lead. While meantime, the Chargers got away from what looked like a sure Oakland payoff drive when Van Egan fumbled on the 9 and lost the football. So a pair of frustrations for the first 2 possessions. Oakland ball, 1st and 10. Raiders come out in a double wing. Hand off to Van Egan. Slashes over right tackle and spurts out to the 24-yard line. Picking up 4 on the play. They blew right by Kelcher and Leroy Jones that time.
Well, if you're going to beat somebody, you got to take it to their best, and that's Kelcher and Jones. 265, 282. Marvin against Kelcher, the rookie. Well, actually thinking of him as a rookie because he didn't play that much last year. He's in his 2nd year. And then Lawrence, too. Lawrence coming on very strong here in the last few games.
Slot right, branch inside Biletnikoff. The hand up to Davis. Power sweep to the left. Upshaw gets knocked back into Davis. Here comes the swarming defense, and CD is run out of bounds back to the 18-yard line. Van Egan was trying to block against 5 Chargers after Upshaw's block was laid, but Gene was just bumped right back into the runner.
You always like to have that good relationship with your pulling guard. CD had it at the start, but who'd expect Gene Upshaw to get knocked back into the back like that? I believe it was Hal Stringer coming across on a strong side corner force, and Uppy just wasn't ready for him. It's one you don't see too often. You get a linebacker or a strong safety more than you get that corner.
3rd and 13. Back to Stabler. He gives on a draw to Van Egan, who stumbles and falls after crossing the line of scrimmage at the 18. It'll be 4th and a little over 10, and Ray Guy comes in for his first punt of the day after booting a 48-yard average in 4 efforts at Denver a week ago. The Chargers are going to drop 2 men back. Mike Fuller will be deep, and Mike Williams will be up short. Fuller last year had 28 punt returns, one of which went for 88 yards and a score against New Orleans. Fuller standing on his 40. Guy with a line of scrimmage, the Raider 18. Here's the snap. The kick is away. A long, high, soaring spiral. To his right goes Fuller, fair catching, and on one knee has it on the 44-yard line of the San Diego Chargers. 38-yard punt by Guy with a decent hang time and no return. And now we'll have the first timeout of the afternoon. No, we don't. Official looked up his if he was going to call timeout. And then he said, no, keep it going. So the Chargers take over again.
We're having trouble just like we did in Nebraska yesterday when they don't call a full timeout for radio people. Now, when you expect the television time, we're not getting that either.
Well, last week, TV took no timeouts in the first quarter, and then they began to shower them on us in the second. All right, Fouts, 1st and 10 has a double wing set up. Remaining back is Bo Matthews. They give to Matthews, straight ahead smash over the left guard slot out to the 47 or 8-yard line. Knocked down by Villapiano and by Willie Hall in the play. Dave Browning is in the Raiders' front 3 now. Matuzak is there. And Browning, those are the 2 ends. And Mike McCoy remains the nose tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 7. No score yet. Over the ball comes the center, Ralph Peretta. Jefferson goes left. Hardy Owens to the right. Hand off to Matthews. Villapiano on a blitz. Buries him at the 41-yard line. Blitzing on the rush that time. Villapiano creamed Matthews. He didn't have a prayer. Loss on the play makes it. Well, they say instead of back at the 41 where he landed, his progress was to the 43 where he was first hit. It's 3rd and 11. Datsun King Cab is the only small pickup with reclining buckets and up to 11.3 cubic feet of interior storage space. It's Datsun, driven to the exclusive. See your Datsun dealer now for a great year-end deal. Joiner to the left against Brown. Jefferson to the right against Hayes. 3rd and long. Back is Fouts to pass. There's a blitz coming. He steps up nicely. Dumps it over the middle. Mitchell fumbles the ball as he's hit. It's picked up by Villapiano. Flag has fallen. Villapiano runs it back to the 45. Let's see if they rule it a fumble or an incompleted pass. Mitchell on a circle over the middle caught it. Was hit. The ball popped loose. I didn't see anybody rule it incomplete. It appears to be a return, but there was a flag that had fallen on the play, and now there's a bit of milling around and discussion going on.
Could be Mitchell was grabbed coming out of the backfield. But the call was questionable. Yeah, see? Probably one of the defensive linemen for the Raiders saw Mitchell starting out on his pass route, and they grabbed at him, trying to upset him and keep him out of his pattern. They grabbed his face bar.
Grabbing a face mask, 36, defense.
Willie.
There's Mike Davis, who of course is in as a 5th defensive back. And again, the penalties are coming at inopportune times for the Raiders. They did last week, even though they didn't dispute. And that's what hurt him. They were penalized 68 yards, only 10 for Denver. Here's Owens to the left. Jefferson to the right. It's 1st and 10 on the Chargers 48. A big break for them that time. Handoff goes to Mitchell. He slides into the hole over right guard, and from the backside, Villapiano scrunches him down, but he got across the 50 to about the 49-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and approximately 8 yards to go. As into the ball game comes Joyner with the next play replacing Owens.
Kenny Stabler hit the nail right on the head after the Denver loss last week. He says, we were penalized, sure. We were making mistakes, sure. We dropped a few balls. You still have to overcome that to win, right, Bill?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Kenny figured there were 6 balls dropped that normally are caught. Backs in the eye this time. Mitchell, the tailback. Handoff goes to Mitchell looking for the hole. He's cut down at the 45. He got about 3 yards out of it. Matuzak played off the block by Bob Klein and managed to make the tackle, and it'll be 3rd down and 4.
Hendricks really handled Klein beautifully that time. Klein is 6'5", 245, but
3 yards.
What Ted likes to do is step into those tight ends and let them commit on the block, then grab their shoulder pads and whip around them and then get on that force.
Johnny Rogers, the fleet-footed former Heisman Trophy winner, is in now in the backfield. He's a deep pass threat. Joyner goes left. Jefferson to the right. Actually, Rogers lines up at a tight end. Bounces back. He looks. He drills one down the middle. It's incomplete. A sliding catch attempt by Rogers while being covered by Mike Davis as the 5th defensive back. Rogers made a good effort after stepping at the 30, but couldn't come up with a reception. And Jeff West, the Charger punter, will... Let's check. Now, wait a minute. Yes, it is 4th down. The down marker hadn't changed. Jeff West is now in the punt.
Well, I tell you, Tommy Popro is pulling out all the stops here as he has the situation offense for every Raider situation defense. As you mentioned, Bill, it was Johnny Rogers lining up as a tight end that time, going against the 5th defensive back.
And, of course, when Mike Davis is in as a 5th back, he's on the tight end.
That's right.
All right, they've got Colsey back now as the lone return man. Here's the snap. West strides up, kicks way away from Neal down toward the left coffin corner, but it will go into the end zone, hitting on the 1 and bounding in for a touchback. A 45-yard punt, and we do have a timeout call as the Raiders come out to the 20-yard line for the next possession. With 2 minutes and 57 seconds to go in the opening quarter. It's Oakland nothing, San Diego nothing. Cincinnati and Cleveland have gone to overtime at 10-all in Cleveland. We'll give you some other scores as we go along. Here's Vance to the left now against Springer. Voletnikoff to the right against Mike Williams. Handoff goes to Van Egan, and he is hit by Kilcher and stopped after a gain of 1 over the left side. Now, you may hear what you think are booing, or is booing right now, and for that, Monty, that's Louis Kelcher, and that's why I think back it was Kelcher who recovered the fumble, and then the offense came on, and they were hollering Lou, 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 which makes it sound like boo.
Yeah, that makes more sense, because I've been here when they booed Danny, and with what he did off coming back after a holdout last year and in last week's game, I just couldn't understand it. Now I do.
All right, to the left branch, to the right, Voletnikoff. Voletnikoff being played very tight by Williams. Back is Tabor, steps up. Big rush coming, gets rid of it at the last second. Intercepted up on the right side by Springer. A flag is down meantime back near the line, I believe. Springer had fallen. Tabor had to unload quickly. There is not a flag. There is not a flag. Springer gets the interception. The rush came. Tabor had to unload while being hit. The ball was off line for Branch. Springer had slipped, but while sort of scrambling forward, managed to recover and make the catch and the interception, and the Chargers have it on the 35, the second Raider turnover of the day.
Well, it's an adjusted situation with Cliff, too. He really did a big turn in that time, came way inside. Sometimes he doesn't turn in that much, and Kenny misread him.
Let's see if Frost will try to hit him with a big one quickly here. No, he gives to Mitchell. Second back through. He's got yardage all the way inside the 30, and then he's thrown back after being hit at about the 27 or 8-yard line. Now, that is booing you hear now. The Raider tacklers really drove him backward, and the fans don't like it. Mitchell followed the first back through Matthews and really has some running room straight up the middle. Now they've got Owens in along with Jefferson as wide receivers. Joyner comes out.
Well, Mitchell is a good a person as you can find at his weight for running inside in this league. He only weighs 195 pounds.
Double wing. Hand up to Matthews. He's on a quick hitter over left side for the first down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Stopped by Dave Browning. Sistrunk has been at nose tackle for this series. He comes out. McCoy comes back in, leaving Browning and Matuzak on either side of him. Raider football is always exciting, and the Adolph Coors Company is proud to be part of the action. Make Coors a part of all your good times this season. Make it yours. Make it Coors. Here's a slot right. That's Jefferson. Inside Joyner. The backs are Mitchell and Matthews. Klein, the tight end on the left side. And the inside handoff to Matthews. He is hit hard by Willie Hall, but he picked up some yardage on a quick hitter off the left side. About the 21-yard line is where they'll mark it, which will be second down at 8.
A lot of divots on that infield already, Bill. It's really tough to get your footing, especially when you're coming off grass or you're playing on grass and you're used to that good traction you have from the cleats, and all of a sudden you got to really dig into somebody and push them aside, and all of a sudden you're digging out. It's an ill feeling, man, when your feet are going out from under you.
Owen splits left, Jefferson flanks right, Mitchell a wing back on the left side in a double wing. Here's the handoff to Matthews, gets outside to the 20, and then missing. He's down to the 15, and angled down. Hit by Jack Tatum after Villapiano had penetration, but missed him on a diving tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Matthews rolls it up to the 15, where it'll now be third down and about a yard and a half at the most.
The reason Phil has so much trouble is Lydell Mitchell just got enough of him on the block, knocked him down. Mitchell at 195 again, runs inside, blocks well, and gets that ball one-on-one with the pass and really takes off.
The gun sounding the end of the first quarter. Scoreboard showing Oakland nothing, San Diego nothing. And the Chargers with an interior line already with veterans Billy Shields, Doug Wilkerson, and Russ Washington, augmented by the acquisition of Ed White in the offseason from Minnesota. And that's been a big help. They're really controlling the line of scrimmage right now. They've gone to double tight ends down here with 3rd and 1. Pat Curran and Bob Klein, both former Rams. In the second quarter today, Miami 14, Baltimore 6. Final, Pittsburgh, after leading only 14-10, won it 21-10 over Seattle. Washington has now rolled out in front of Philadelphia in the third quarter, 35-16. Kansas City and at wing T leading Houston in the fourth quarter, 17-6. Former President Gerald Ford directly across the way from us, standing and waving to the crowd after a public address system introduction. Now the Chargers, 3rd and 1, big play here. If they get this one, then they've got a new series and a chance to go for the big 6. Double tight ends with Jefferson lined up just off the shoulder of the right tight end, off the hip of the right tight end, Bob Klein.
The jury said he wasn't going to run again.
Never say never. All set. Woods is in now with Matthews. Pass, play fake, back to pass. Look, he throws down the middle, shoots it up, and caught by a Charger. Touchdown, San Diego. That's Curran. Holy Toledo. What else can happen to the Oakland Raiders? Jack Tatum broke up the pass after it missed the intended receiver. Jefferson, it deflected into the air under the crossbar, and there was Curran waiting. Chargers take the lead, 6-0.
I say, that really makes you feel bad when you should catch that ball. Gets away from you 9 times out of 100. It'll fall down, 99 times rather. It'll fall to the ground. That time, right in his hand.
Benoshka will kick. Here's the spot. The boot is up. It is good. I said as I called the play that it was Tatum. I'm going to amend that after looking at a replay. It was Mike Davis who broke up the pass only to have it fall in the hands of Curran for a touchdown. Time is out on the field. 14 minutes and 55 seconds left to play. Second quarter. Scoreboard shows San Diego 6, Oakland nothing. Benoshka will kick off from our left to our right. Whittington back with Robisky. The Raiders need something to sort of shake loose here today. They've moved the ball, but they've turned it over. That sound like last week a little bit? Benoshka starts to move on the football, and it falls off the tee. One thing you got to think is the Charger offensive coordinator, Ray Perkins, has really had a game plan for this game today, Monty. He came down there with that 3rd and short in the 14, went to play fake, and went to the end zone. Even though it was broken up, it was still a daring call.
A little daring do, as you would say, Bill. Yeah, they pull out all the stops. Like I say, it's situation offense for situation defense.
Whittington takes the kickoff at the 2, out to the 10, 15, behind a Robisky block to the 20, and gets it to the 23 where he stops. Brought down by Hank Howell and Pete Shaw, and it'll be 1st and 10.
Number 22, Arthur Whittington.
Oakland moving from our right to our left. Their first drive was from their own 27 down to the 9, and a fumble by Van Egan. Turned it over to the Chargers. The second drive was really only in its infancy when Stringer had intercepted on the 40 and set up the touchdown situation. Brought it back to the 35. And then they drove it on in. Branch to the left, Leathercroft to the right on a double wing. Play fake. Stabler back. He's got time to go more. And Johnson gets him through back to the 12-yard line. Terry Johnson. As Stabler, with the play fake, looked like he had bought time. Suddenly Johnson with a surge exploded past the blocker and sacked Kenny.
When you get a guy coming that clean on a play fake, you know that the block up front didn't work. Gene Upshaw missed him almost completely, just got a piece of Johnson. And he was charging across the line, Bill. So once Gene missed him, he was underway. Then he saw Kenny with the ball, took off after him, and got the sack.
What the Raiders don't want to do is get themselves in even a moderate catch-up position here.
No, you're right.
To the left, Bradshaw to the right now. Biletnikoff is out of there. Stabler back to pass, strong rush, steps up, throws quickly and wobbly, well upfield. Branch makes the catch at the 50 and is dragged down from behind at the 45-yard line of the Chargers. He won the foot race by an eyelash with the defender, Hal Stringer, made the catch over the shoulder, and the Raiders get into Charger territory.
Well, I'll tell you, if there's anything that'll take the sting out of the fans, the Chargers, and the way they're going right now, it's a play like that by Clifford. Pete Shaw was the free safety coming over, and he was there late. He couldn't help out. Cliff just beat Stringer.
41 yards, and the thing is, Stabler had to throw fast, and it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball. He knew he had a strong rush coming, and he still got it out there.
Threw to a spot and got away with it.
Pete Banaszak and rookie Arthur Whittington in the backfield for the Raiders. Raymond Chester's in as a wide receiver in the slot. Pitch out to Whittington, wide sweep to the right. Here comes Williams, and he cuts him down. Fuller, he cuts him down at the 50. The strong safety with a tremendous force. Whittington, who was fleet of foot, didn't have a prayer of getting outside to turn the corner. Mike Fuller, the 4-year veteran from Auburn, making the play.
Fuller was right there, wide side of the field, and he looked into the backfield. As soon as Van Egan went up to block the defensive end, he was up and forcing to the outside. Arthur had the only chance to go outside, but as he went out there, Fuller's great speed and angle of pursuit shut him off, and Fuller made a nice defensive play.
2nd and 15. Now they've got Branch to the left and Bradshaw to the right. Stabler back, big rush, steps up. He rifles one downfield, and Casper makes a reaching, grasping, touching catch, and is up from behind on the 5-yard line. What an incredible play. Finally dropped by Mike Williams. That body just went farther and farther and farther. You thought he was going to stretch his arms out of their sockets before he made the catch.
Great catch. He caught the end of the football, Bill. If you can picture that, as the hands on the ball were past the middle of the football on its end. He beat Bob Horn again as the Chargers continue to try to cover Casper for the linebacker. I hope they do that all afternoon. It was reminiscent of the catch he made in Baltimore, although not as dramatic, and hopefully it'll set up this touchdown.
1st and goal on the 6th. The Raiders have gobbled up on 2 big plays, almost all the length of the field here. Double tight end, play fake, Stabler back, looking to the end zone. He throws, Casper, touchdown Raiders. On a crossing pattern, Casper against Mike Fuller got open, and Stabler on 3 quick plays takes the Raiders from their own 23-yard line to pay dirt, and says to the Chargers, hey, wait a minute, babies, your time may not be today.
Especially if you're going to try again to cover Casper with a linebacker. That time, Kenny delivered the ball very strongly. Hal Stringer tried to drop back and protect against Casper. He got a hand up, but the ball was past him by then.
Arrow man in to convert. It's a 7-6 game. The Chargers are still in front. David Hum will hold. They want to change of footballs now. For Dave Dalby, who snaps on the conversion tries. So the things are heating up here in sunny San Diego this afternoon. Snap, spot, kick by man. It is good. Timeout on the field. 12:08 to go. Second quarter. Scoreboard shows Oakland 7, San Diego 7. Mike Fuller will be back with Artie Owens down to the goal line to our left to return Ray Guy's kickoff here. The Raiders' drive consumed 4 plays. It started 77 yards from pay dirt. It actually went 86 yards because Stabler was sacked on 1st down and came back with a 41-yarder to Branch on 2nd down. Hit Casper for 39 and Casper for 6, and they were in the end zone. Short kickoff, high. Artie Owens now takes it. It's on the 5. It's carried decently. Out to the 15. He is almost decapitated. A tremendous hit that time by the Raiders' Mike Davis. And it'll be 1st and 10 for San Diego on their own 16-yard line. Mike Davis has been in the thick of a lot of plays today. Got called for a penalty. Broke up a pass that turned into a touchdown, but he's still exuberant after that special teams play.
16-yard line.
How would you get a young guy like that in a special situation? He is, in a sense, a rookie. He didn't make the team last year, although he's been in the Raider system a couple of years. He still has Well, lots to learn in game conditions.
Joiner to the left, Johnny Rogers to the right. Fouts now gives to the tailback Woods, who slides through the hole over the left side and breezes out to the 22-yard line, where he's brought down by Willie Hall.
More on Davis, you know, Bill, too. Without the experience, the Chargers are going to try to test him.
Remember, Security Pacific Bank has over 500 offices to serve you in California. That's security in numbers. Owens is in now. They're giving Jefferson a rest on this series. Owens and Joyner alternating on plays. Rogers out to the left against Monty Jackson is now in for the Raiders at right corner. Out to the right is Owens against Lester Hayes. Fouts giving the ball to Matthews. Off-tackle slant to the right, and the play is buried by an excellent job by Matuzak. He wouldn't let the blocker, 290-pound Russ Washington, get to him. He just rode the blocker and the ball carrier into the turf.
That's a great matchup. Matuzak and Washington. Washington 6'7", 287. Matuzak at 6'7" and 2 whatever.
Don't believe 280. Down here.
He looks bigger than I've ever seen him.
One day in camp, I was told that he was at 307, and that was when he was in good shape.
Yes, sir. And he likes to play that muscle game, especially on a run when Washington comes firing right out at him, and it's just a muscle game.
3rd and 3. They send Rogers left. Joyner to the right. Fouts back to pass. Has plenty of time against the 3-man rush. Rifles it up the middle. It is broken up. He went to Klein up in the middle at the 35. Tatum broke it up. And it'll be 4th down with West to come in to punt.
Jack a little bit upset with himself. I think he, at the last moment, went to break it up, and then he figured, hey, if I'd have reacted a little bit differently, I may have picked it off. I think that's why he was upset with himself. But whatever, the San Diego Chargers have to give the ball up now, and it's going to be a Raider ball if everything goes right in good field position.
Colby back on the Oakland 35, 7-7 game. Line of scrimmage, the Chargers 23. Jeff West waiting for the snap from Don Masek, the backup center. Last year, starting guard that lost the job when Ed White came over. Here's the snap. The kick is away. It's a high, soaring spiral. Colby fair catch signal, moves up on it, takes it at the 40. So a 37-yard punt by West with no return. Timeout on the field. Raider ball. We have 10:26 to go. Second quarter. Scoreboard showing Oakland 7, San Diego 7. Oakland moving from our right to our left after having quieted the previously somewhat vocal and uproarious San Diego crowd with that startling touchdown drive. Stabler is now 6 for 8 and 133 yards. Casper has caught 4 balls for 94 yards. Bolitnikoff is back in. Branch slots to the right, inside Fred, out to the right. Stabler back on 1st down. Lays it up the left flat to Davis. No blocking out there. He's running at the 40. He stiff-arms a man and gallops out of bounds. At about the 47-yard line, Don Good, the strong side linebacker, came after him. Davis gave him a quick stiff arm and then got out of bounds for a pickup of 6.5. Second down, about 3.5.
That's amazing. Clarence Davis, the way he uses that stiff arm. Not many backs use it anymore in football. The old days, every back had to have a good stiff arm if he was going to be a great runner. But Clarence uses it very effectively. And, of course, for his size, it's a major plus for him when he does use it so well.
Stringard is out. Jerome Dove, once a Raider rookie a couple of years ago, is in at right corner. Here's the handoff to Davis, runs into his blocker, and he is knocked down by Fred Dean, the defensive right end. Tried to go left behind that strong Raider left side, but he bumped into the blocker. Then his adjustment was cut off by Dean. It'll be, now it comes up 3rd and 3.
Seems everywhere you go these days, Bill, you run into an ex-Raider that there just wasn't enough room on the team for at cut time, and he pops up somewhere else. It's amazing.
Robisky is in for Davis. Robisky galloped for 18 yards on the Raiders' first drive that died on the 9. Was in one play. Slot right, Branch inside Bolitnikoff. They bring the safety Fuller over to cover Branch. Stabler back to pass. Sets up. 4-man pattern. Sidestep. Can't get away. Dean buries him on a sack at the 36-yard line. Got by Art Shell. And so on 4th down, Guy comes in to punt. Second sacking suffered by Stabler today. Dean is only 228, so going against Shell's massiveness, he's got to have thickness.
Think of it for you fans up there that watched Fred Dreyer play against Shell. Same kind of a situation. Tall, lean, very quick, bounces around, good movement, so Arthur really never knows where he's going to be.
Guy waiting for the snap. Back deep, they've got Mike Fuller, and the short one is Mike Williams. Fuller is on the Charger 20. Snap to Guy, strides into the punt. Lost one, it takes off higher and away from Fuller. Beautifully angled out of bounds in the area of the 30-yard line with no return. We They're going to put it at the 24. That's where they say it went out. Charger fans don't like that spot. I'm a little surprised by it. Raymond may have got a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that time. And so the Chargers take over as time is called on the field at 9:04 to go in the second quarter. Scoreboard showing Oakland 7, San Diego 7. We're talking about that line matchup a while ago, Monty, with Russ Washington, 287, at least listed against Matuzak, at least 290. I just looked at Washington. He is not rotund and round. He's built like a wedge, just like Matuzak. That's amazing.
A couple of redwood trees out there.
Johnny Rogers to the left, out to the right, Joyner. Fouts has the backs in the eye. Gives to the tailback, it's Woods, and he tries to read the blocking and doesn't get much. He gets out to about the 26. Slowed down and stopped by Mike McCoy with some help from Matuzak. Fouts is 5 for 7 with 84 yards thus far. Second down, and he got almost 3 out of it. Call it 7 yards to go.
Good job by Matuzak that time, going on in and helping McCoy out. He stood Washington up from the outside shoulder, worked across the space, and went in and helped out. Good stuff.
Owens to the left, Rogers to the right. Now Klein comes over from left tight end and lines up on the right side. Hand up to Woods, trying to drive behind Wilkerson's block outside, and the play is broken up by a combination of Villapiano stripping the blocker and coming up Lester Hayes, the quarterback, making the tackle at the 27.
Phil's been down a couple of times, although he's gotten good pressure on the back as you said, Bill, stripping the interference. He's still going to his feet a little bit too much, or to his knees a little bit too much today. Up in Denver, I don't recall him being down once. I guess they were taught this week in the films to cut him.
Raiders now go to a situation substitution. Mike Davis is in along with another down lineman. Willie Brown is in along with Monty Jackson. Actually, now the Raiders have 6 defensive backs. Back to Pasco Spouts, third down and long. He looks, rifles one to Rogers in the middle of the defense. He sits down, gets up, but he was touched down by Lester Hayes.
Pass complete to number 20, Johnny Rogers.
There's a flag down on the field in the secondary.
Down on the field.
Probably be against Oakland. That's what usually happens if you find that flag there against the defense. And it is. First down.
Illegal shot.
Willie Brown, illegal chuck. Willie lined up right on the line of scrimmage on the defense in that special situation substitution. Of all the pants stores in the world, only one gives you everything you'll ever need. That's the Gap. When you're looking for stylish jeans and tops, the Gap's got you covered in just your size. Fall in now and look yourself over. They declined the penalty. The first down is by way of that 14-yard pass to Rogers. First and 10 on the Charger 36. Here's the handoff now, and it goes to the running back Mitchell, who flashes over the right side and out to the 41-yard line. Before McCoy makes the stop. Down on the bottom, Villapiano. It'll be second down and 5 as Mitchell got 5. He has gained for 3 consecutive years 1,000 yards rushing. In the last 4 years, he's averaged 65 catches a game.
Well, that's a lot of offense, and it's too bad things didn't work out in Baltimore for him. He and the owner, Robert Ursay, getting in a problem, but hopefully it'll work out here.
I should say 65 catches a season, not a game. Fouts is back. Fires over the middle. Nice job over the head by Rogers, and he's knocked down in his crack for the first down on the Oakland 48. Monty Johnson took a short drop. Rogers hooked right in front of him, then had to go way up the ladder to make the catch, but did.
A 10-yard advance.
Artie Owens comes in for Joyner now. They're going to Rogers here. He missed a lot of action last year with a hamstring, missed some of the preseason, but now is beginning to get very much in the offense. Jefferson is still out. Owens to the left, Rogers to the right. I have to wonder if Jefferson might be injured. First and 10. Hand off to the tailback. Getting outside of the right is Mitchell. He is dragged down by Matuzak, but he got to the 44 for a gain of 5. Lester Hayes with assist on the tackle, and Mitchell beginning to move now.
See Jefferson down on the bench with an ice pack in the back of his neck. He may have gotten shaken up a little bit on the play. I don't think it's that early in the ball game where the heat or anything could get to him, but he's got an ice pack in the back of his neck.
Just got the report. He has a jammed neck. They expect him to return before the day is over.
Better get a donut on him before he does.
Joyner to the left against Monty Jackson. Rogers to the right against Hayes, who plays him nose to nose. Fouts giving now to Don Woods, the tailback. Power switch to the right, cuts into the box. 35 down the right side of the 30. Run out long. That's a 22-yard line by Tatum. Don Woods running the way he did when as a rookie he gained over 1,100 yards. Followed Doug Wilkerson's block around the right side, cut up under it, and had running room.
Well, I tell you, Ed White was in there, too. A nice tandem with their pulling guards. Bill, they didn't commit till they got all the way to the sidelines, and there was only one Raider left. Wilkerson threw the block, and then Woods jumped in behind Ed White and picked up a few more good yards. Boy, they really ran that nice. The Raiders have had a tough time stopping that sweep this afternoon. Last week it was up the middle. The Raiders have shut that down, so the Chargers are going outside today.
Now double wing. Remaining back is Matthews. Toss play fake to Matthews. Back to pass. He looks. He rifles one to Owens. He steps on the goal line. It's incomplete. And a flag falls. In fact, two of them fall. Monty Jackson covering Owens. Booked him at the goal line. It'll be first and goal to go San Diego. Jackson getting his first concerted action as a Raider. Trying to get back in condition after missing most of the preseason when he was in the Rams' possession, but not in their camp. And the call looked like a valid call.
Looked to me if Monty Jackson could have reacted to the ball just a little bit sooner, they wouldn't have been able to call it that way, Bill. But he just didn't have this control of himself, and he slammed into the receiver.
First and goal. Masek is in at center on this drive. He comes over the ball. They've got double tight ends knocking on the door. There's a handoff that goes to Hank Fowler, and he dives into the end zone. Hank Fowler, the backup running back, came out of the tailback position. A second-year man who joined the club as a free agent in 1977 out of Cal Lutheran. Goes the final yard, and the Chargers are in the end zone with a lead of 13-7.
Well, they had a good look at him at Cal Lutheran. It's right over behind us here on the ocean. It's only about 4 or 5 miles from the ballpark, and they must have scouted him well because he's right in their own backyard. 5'11", 204, and ran with good authority that time. Had a good dive over the goal line.
And they'll be cheering up in Oxnard, where this balding young man is a teacher in the offseason. Snap, spot, kick by Badurski. It's on the way, and it's bad. He hooks another one to the left, and the conversion fails. Time is out on the field, and the scoreboard shows with 5:36 to go in the second quarter, San Diego 13, Oakland 7. The Nurseker must be grinding a little bit right now after having missed an easy distance field goal and a conversion, ready to tee up the ball. They missed a conversion last year in the upset of the Raiders here, and it made it tough for the Chargers. They had to put together a late scoring drive to pull out a win after Oakland led 7-6.
Right, then he kicked the field goal that made the difference.
That's right.
Let's hope that doesn't repeat itself today. Let's have him go sour, continue to go sour.
Whittington back with Robisky. Badurski advances on the ball. Kicks it high and overhand, carrying down to about the 5. Whittington takes it there. Out to the 10, the 15, the 20, accelerates, 25, and runs into 2 hard hitters in Charger uniform at the 29-yard line.
Number 22.
One of them was Rick Middleton, and the other collided with Middleton as they made the tackle on Whittington, and he is down out there. That is Pete Shaw. There's free safety. When you decide to purchase a new color television, a home videotape recorder, a microwave oven, it's nice to know there's Quasar. Quasar, the world leader in electronic products for the home. We'll pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Oakland Raiders Football Network.
Radio 81, home of the Oakland Raiders, KGO, San Francisco.
Bill, you mentioned the loudness of the public address system here. They have no control over anything at all. They still got the band going on kickoffs. They got the guy talking over that. It's just mayhem here as far as sound is concerned.
As I was reading a little drop-in notation for the Quasar people here, I thought that if I've ever experienced the first-hand personification of the word cacophony, I was experiencing it at that moment.
Unbelievable.
That is the great American Football Day syndrome of don't ever let a moment of silence interrupt the gyrations audially that they seem to feel are necessary in a stadium. The Rams have taken a 3-0 lead over Atlanta in the first quarter. Kansas City was leading Houston in the fourth quarter, 17-6. The Oilers fought back to win it, 20-17. Dallas prevailed over the Giants, 34-24, but the Giants were able to score some today. And Green Bay will be 2-0 when the Raiders go in there next Sunday. They were victors over New Orleans, 28-17 this afternoon. Chicago leading the 49ers at the half, 7-3. Raiders on their own 29. Quick pitch to Van Egan, trying to get outside of the right. Getting the Clarence Davis block, and he is hit, fumbles, the ball goes out of bounds at about the 35-yard line.
Number 30, Mark Van Egan.
Pretty good conversion for Mark, 4 yards on a sweep like that. He's not known for his speed, but he worked his way outside and picked up those yards in a tough manner out near the sideline.
Jones, the left end, who was the man who kept trying to string the play out. Davis never really got the block clear into him, but he managed just to keep him shuffling to the side so Mark could turn it up a little bit. 2nd down and 6. Now it's Branch inside Bradshaw in a slot formation to the left. They continue with Jerome Dove at that corner. Back Stabler steps up. He rifles one to Branch, but he can't get it. Branch drove the cornerback Dove off at the 50, came back. But on the comeback, the pass, I said Branch, excuse me a moment ago, it's Bradshaw. As he came back to the sideline, the pass just didn't even get in the vicinity. Led him too far back, and Biletnikoff comes in. He'll come in for Davis. 3 wide receivers are now in the plans of the Raiders on 3rd down and 6. And Biletnikoff comes left with Bradshaw in the slot. Branch goes right over there against Mike Williams. Big play. Back to pass Stabler. They're starting a blitz, but it's picked up. He slides away to the right, fires one. Branch can't make the catch. He scoops it. On a comeback at the 50 in front of Williams, the ball just a little underthrown, and a flag went down. That's where Stabler released and was hit. And we're looking for the preliminary call holding Oakland.
Bill, twice now the Raider receivers have had trouble getting out of their cut. And by that I mean once they start into a comeback situation like that, first Bradshaw, he hasn't been in the game that much. He covered a couple of punts, but his legs maybe aren't that loose, his feet not that quick, and he had to come back out on the dirt. That time Branch just went a little too deep and couldn't come back for the ball.
Henry Lawrence trying to contain the rush of Leroy Jones, held him. And the Chargers declined it since the pass was incomplete, making it 4th down, and Guy will punt. They drop Fuller back just inside the Charger 25. Clarence Williams between the 30 and the 35. Sylvester ready to snap. And Guy takes it, strides into the front, booms one this time. Fuller backpedaling, going to field it, takes it on the 15, starts to the right, way to the right at the 20, breaks between 2 men, and then is buried at the 28-yard line. Pete Vanazak, Derek Ramsey down there along with Rod Martin. And the Chargers with 4:26 in the second quarter will be taking over the football again, and time is out on the field at 4:26 to go. Period number 2, scoreboard showing San Diego 13 and Oakland 7. 1st and 10, San Diego now. Bounce at the controls. Jefferson is still not returned. They've got Joyner to the left, Rogers to the right, Woods in the backfield with Matthews. Bounce giving the ball to Woods. Power sweep to the right. Wilkerson gives him a block, but he stacked up and swarmed under at the 30-yard line, but he did fight for a little extra yardage after the play was nearly stopped by both Hendricks and Dave Browning.
Boy, Hendricks really played that block off nice. He had a guy in front of him. Tight end fine. Then the guard, he stuffed that play up and then came back and helped trip up the back, too. He forces as good as any linebacker in pro football. He's got the good leverage, good strength, doesn't let the man get to his feet where he's going to be tripping up, and then gets out and does the job. Just very methodical and matter of fact about it. Perfect.
2nd and 6. Owens to the left, Rogers to the right, backs in the eye. Here's a handoff to Woods. He's hit by Villapiano and knocked down. Villapiano again, blitzing on the rush, knocked down the blocker Matthews and hit the ball carrier Woods at the 30.
That's the Phil we know. Now last week, like I said, he didn't go to his knees that much. A couple of times Matthews and Lydell Mitchell got to Phil earlier in this game. Now he's got the feel of it a little bit better, what they're going to try to do to him. He defeated the block that time and made the tackle on that blitz. It looked real good.
Raiders now bring in extra defensive back Neil Colsey on a 4th down lineman, Pat Toomey. It's 3rd down and 6. Starts giving now an inside handoff to Woods. He is belted to the line by Sistrunk, who stopped him at the 32. Really read the play beautifully, and that'll force Jeff West to come in to punt. Are you looking for banking security? Security Pacific Bank has had a successful business relationship with 90 of the nation's top 100 corporations. Trunk was playing on a 4-man line that time at the tackle, Monty, and he made a great play on it. 2nd and 10, San Diego. 2nd and 10, Oakland. 2:30 to go. 4:26 to go. Oakland 7, San Diego 13.
Well, when you think back when he did play almost full-time at the tackle, he really can stick you. He got the big upper body in. He's got a lot of strength. And when you try to match up in a muscle game with him, most of the time you're coming out second best.
Here's a snap to West. He steps into the punt, gets it high. Colsey is going to let it fall, I think. At the 25, it bounces against the Raiders to the 20, angling to the right sideline of the 16, where it'll be rolling dead and down by Jerome Dove. 51-yard punt. Guy got off the 51-yarder the last time on the fly. This one a good Charger bounce. So with 2:17 to go in the second quarter, and the Raiders looking at a 6-point deficit. Stabler and company take over. The last series, I think, Monty, was probably the best pass rush pressure they've had consistently on Kenny, although he'd been sacked once before.
Right. The Chargers are starting to mix it up now, too, and that's been the problem. They're starting to do a couple of those tangos, they call it. That's crisscrossing.
Big hole for Van Egan. Blasts out to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 4-man after him, and Dove finally gets him at the 50-yard line. Van Egan exploded over the left side. At the 15, 16-yard line, went all the way to the midfield stripe. The 2-minute warning has gone to both benches. Timeout on the field on Van Egan's 34-yard gallop. Scoreboard showing in the second quarter, San Diego 13 and Oakland 7. Raiders now in their 2-minute offense will have a 1st and 10 at the midfield stripe. Stabler is 7 for 11 on the day, 140 yards. He has been sacked twice. He has been intercepted once. Fouts is 7 for 9 for the Chargers, 101 yards. No sacks, no intercepts. Casper has caught 4 of Stabler's 7 completions. Branch grabbed a big one for 41. Clarence Davis has caught 2 for short gains. Chargers in their 4-3 defense. Jones, Kelcher, Johnson, Dean along the front. Horn, the middle linebacker. Woodrow, the weak side. Woodrow low, that is, and Don Good on the strong side.
When you break one up the middle like Van Egan just did, Bill, you got to look back and find out where the middle linebacker was. I'll tell you, I went back 10, 15, 20, 30 yards, and all of a sudden I come way back to almost the point of attack, and there was Bob Horn on the ground. So one of the Raider linemen got him down, and that made that big hole for Van Egan.
Slot right, Stabler back to pass. Steps up, throws a deep bomb for Bradshaw down around the 15, and he can't hold it. He got behind Williams, had to turn and wait for it for a second, and it bounced off his fingers. I don't think Williams touched it. I'll have to look at a replay to be certain.
I'll tell you what, he's taking credit for it, but let's look at it here, Bill.
Bradshaw made an out-and-up move that got him by Williams, and then Williams caught up. It looked to me like it was just right off Morris's hand.
Morris just couldn't hang on to it. Williams thinks he had something to do with it. He got up talking to Morris, kind of pointing the finger at him as if to say, yeah, that shows you, but I'm sure Kenny and Morris and Cliff are going to come back and try that guy again.
Plotnikoff for Bradshaw. Branch slots left inside Fred. Back to pass goes Stabler. He looks. He rifles one quickly to Kessler in a post pattern overthrown at the 10. He had his man beaten. He beat the linebacker, Horn. They had the other defensive back coming, but too late. That was Williams, the cornerback. But the ball was just a little too far in front even for Casper, who has that incredible elasticity when he needs it.
Sure does. I tell you, it's too bad Kenny couldn't throw that ball down that hash mark a little bit more. Hard to see where the ghost is going to adjust in his pattern, and that might have been a problem. But he had Horn beat by at least a full step, and if Kenny could have hit him with the ball, you'd think a touchdown.
Now after the Raiders take 2 big strikes, they're now 3rd and 10. 1:49 to go. Branch inside Bradshaw, now to the left. Back goes Stabler to pass. Sets up. He looks. He fires one that is incomplete. Branch coming out of the slot wanted to run a little turnout at the 37-yard line. Then he led him too far and too early.
Well, Bill, you heard me talk about some of the Raider receivers not getting out of the patterns, the timing, this, that, and the other thing. Now it's beginning to look like Kenny is rushing his throws. He may be a little bit worried about that pass rush, the sacks he's encountered, the sacks that the team had, the Chargers coming in here. I think he's rushing it just a little bit too much now. You can't expect the receivers to alter their patterns that much. You got to wait for them to make the break.
Williams and Fuller back, and twin safeties on the 10 for Ray Guy's punt from the 50. Snap and spot. Kick on the way. Punts to his left. Fuller's going to receive it on the 10. Coming down, he misses. He is missed by Stewart. Gets back out to the 20, and he's buried. hit by Ramsey and Martin. Wingman Joe Stewart, the rookie, had a shot at him at the 15 and missed, but it drove him inside. Then he tried to belly out and got caught.
That's pretty nice coverage by Stewart. Let's face it, he's on the offense. He's not known as a defensive man. He got down very well that time. Alan Morris Bradshaw, who's put the pressure on many a kick returner in his career. Stewart that time made a diving lunge and at least upset the man and slowed him enough for the other coverage to get him. So Stewart, nice play that time as he had the containment on punt coverage.
All right, Fouts, 1st and 10. Ball on the 20-yard line. Giving the ball here to Matthews on a slant, bumps across, hit by McCoy, keeps going out to the 27. This play didn't look at the start as if it would be like that, but he wound up getting 7 yards out of it. You know, the Datsun B210 is the economy car with all sealed unibody construction, computer-designed suspension. Datsun B210 delivers the greatest economy of all, and that's quality. See your Datsun dealer now for a great year-end deal. Johnny Rogers to the left against Monty Jackson. Out to the right, Artie Owens against Lester Hayes. The backs in the eye at second, about 2.5. Hand off to Matthews again, and he surges over the left guard slot out to the first down at about the 32-yard line. They're not going to try to get the ball up the field and get a quick field goal position here. They took over with 1:35 to go. It's now 52 seconds to go in the second quarter. Clock is stopped.
Number 39, Willie Hall.
And they have now taken a timeout, apparently. It's sort of odd in a way, Monty. They weren't looking for big gainers, so I thought maybe they were going to run it out. Now they've taken a timeout at this point. They might perhaps try to hit with a big bomb. But the two moves are not really particularly consistent with each other.
No, maybe Tommy, my old buddy Tommy, is trying to play a little cagey here, thinking the Raiders, or rather the Chargers, are going to run it out on the ground. He may be trying to duke the Oakland team into kind of a run defense so he can go up on top.
Angels, America's leading do-it-yourself centers and winner of the Retailer of the Year and Home Center of the Year awards, has 30 stores throughout California and Arizona to serve your complete home improvement needs. Shop and save at Angels. Well, the Raiders today have suffered 2 turnovers, one of which did not directly result in any damage in the scoring column, but the other did. It set up a 35-yard touchdown march for the Chargers' first score of the day. Fouts has discussed things with the coaching staff, and we're ready to go. Chargers 1st and 10 at their own 33. Rogers, fleet-footed little guy, in the ball game. They have Joyner to the left, Rogers to the right. Mitchell is back in with Matthews. Draw play to Matthews. Matthews surges out to the 35, and he's buried there. Willie Hall, along with Monty Johnson and McCoy, make the stop. And the clock is not running, and the fans are sort of booing in stage whispers here. It's not a full-lunged chorus by any means.
Now, I'm sure the fans here, they've seen the Chargers lose to the Raiders on their home turf so much that now that they are up, they'd probably like a little more blood drawn, and they want their team to try for that score before the half.
20 seconds to go on the snap. The handoff to the tailback, Mitchell. Over the middle, dropped by Villapiano along with McCoy. Time running out. They have a 13-7 lead. They weren't going to risk it by putting the ball in the air and making a little error somewhere that could blow up in their face. And 2 seconds, 1 second, and there's the gun. Time to the end of the first half. Scoreboard showing San Diego 13 and Oakland 7.
Halftime here at San Diego. I'm Monty Stickles along with Bill King, and the Chargers have a 13-7 lead over the Oakland Raiders here. It seems the Raiders started out a little sluggish. I think the Chargers were really jacked up after their win here last year, and having lost to the Raiders 10 straight, they said, hey, we got to show them this year. We got to show them we're for real. They really came out storming, and it showed. They were knocking the Raiders around pretty well in that first quarter. In fact, the score was 0-0 at the end of the first frame. Into the second quarter, it was San Diego drawing the first blood, and that was at 14:55 on a 13-yard pass, Fouts to Curran. But the disappointment in that one was, and it sure gave San Diego a lift, was that Mike Davis had tipped the ball in the end zone, and instead of him catching it, or instead of the ball falling to the turf, there was Pat Curran standing almost directly under the goalpost, and the ball tipped right into his hands. He caught it for the touchdown. The Raiders got jacked up after that. They said, hey, let's not let this thing get away from us. and they went right to town on offense, and Kenny Stabler came back, and after a first down sack, put 3 consecutive plays together just beautifully. 41-yard fly pattern to Bradshaw, 39-yard pass to Casper on a post pattern where he made a great catch, almost like the one in Baltimore last year, and then Kenny hits Casper on a crossing pattern for a touchdown from 6 yards out. And then the Raiders had another faux pas that led to a score for San Diego. Cliff Branch did a big turn-in on the left side. Kenny Stabler under a heavy rush threw the ball out there. Didn't think Cliff was going to come maybe turn in so far. He threw it back out towards the sideline. He threw it right to Stringert. And then the Chargers came back the other way. On a pass interference call later, a couple of plays later, Monty Jackson at the 2-yard line was called for pass interference. And then from there, Hank Brower took it over, 2-yard plunge, and that made it 13-7. So far, the Raiders have taken the brunt of the physical attack. I think if they come out here charged up and get a little more physical with San Diego, they can take them out of the patterns and do much better. Let's hope so.
Bill King back at San Diego Stadium, where the Raiders are trailing 13-7 in a game against the fired-up Chargers, who were 6-point underdogs going into the game today. The Raiders have missed some opportunities by way of the turnover, but have perhaps more than anything lacked consistency offensively. They've been also fortunate in that Ralph Panershka badly hooked a 28-yard field goal attempt that missed, and also missed the conversion after the Chargers' second touchdown. So they have had certain things going in their favor at this point. But offensively, except for that quick strike 3 plays in which they covered some 86 yards to a touchdown on their only scoring march of the day, they have not been able to put together a consistent offense. They've had receivers open deep several times that Kenny Stabler has missed, throwing a little bit quickly perhaps because of a strong rush, but they've not really established what could be called a strong rushing game. 65 yards unofficially and 120 yards passing, while the Chargers have 87 yards rushing and 101 passing thus far. Unofficially, we have Fouts with 7 of 10 for those 101 yards. He has not been intercepted nor sacked. Stabler 7 of 13 for 140 yards. He has been intercepted once and sacked twice. In the first half, the Chargers out-first downed the Raiders 13-7. Third down efficiency by the two clubs is equal, 2 for 6. Total net yards, Chargers 208, Raiders 170. This is the official figure. 107 rushing for the Chargers, 101 passing. Raiders only 51 rushing, 119 passing. So that unofficial figure was not quite as accurate. This is the accurate one now, and it's much lower than the other we gave you. Woods, 10 carries, 39 yards. Matthews, 12 for 39 for the Chargers. Van Egan, 7 for 46 for the Raiders. Mike Fuller and Artie Owens back to await Ray Guy's kickoff from our right to our left.
Ray Guy.
Guy moves up on the football and drives it, spinning a little crazily in the air. It's taken by Owens on the 5, left sideline, following a wave out to the 20. He goes high in the air, hurdles over a man, and is brought down at the 25-yard line. Arthur Whittington made him leap over him and drove him into the arms of his pursuing teammate. 1st and 10, San Diego now. Mitchell in the backfield now. Back to pass Fouts. Big rush, but he gets a good block. He's back now, runs out to the left, being pursued. Willie Hall gets him at the 37-yard line. The whole Raider defense had deployed either up the middle or up to the defensive left, so Fouts took off to his left, the defensive right.
7-yard advance.
Danny not known for scrambling. He's more of a pocket passer, but every once in a while when it does get that obvious, he can take off and pick up a few yards. And when he came up on Willie Hall that time, just kind of eased into him and tried to get under his tackle.
Wilkerson picked up a blitz that time that gave Fouts the chance to get outside and try to run some. It's 3rd and 10 now. Raiders have Colsey in as a 5th defensive back and Toomey as a 4th rusher at defensive right end. Fouts back to pass. He steps up. He looks. He throws. It is caught by Klein. Colby battling him to try and tackle him. Gets help, and he stops short of the first down at the 46-yard line. Monty Jackson, who had taken a deep drop, had to come a long way up to help Colby, who was wrestling with Klein, a bull of a man at 6'5", 245.
Right, Klein outweighed him 40 pounds. Colby did a beautiful job of wrestling him down, just like he was bulldogging. Saved the first down. Now the Chargers have to punt. That is a super play, a muscle job by Colby.
Here's Jeff West in now to boot. Colby back inside the Raider 20. The line of scrimmage is San Diego 46. Chargers leading at 13-7.
Well, you figure Klein should have ran the pattern up to get the first down, but he didn't.
Hendricks almost gets a block. West punts one away from Colby. Downfield landing at the 20. Bounding against the Raiders down to the 16 and rolling down on the 15-yard line. Hendricks had a good push on that time, but the punt just away from his outstretched hand, and he got a good roll to Jeff West. So it's 1st and 10 Oakland, their first possession of the second half. Timeout, 11:04 to go, third quarter. Scoreboard showing San Diego 13, the Raiders 7. 49ers leading the Bears in the second quarter, 10-6. New England leading St. Louis 10-9 in the second quarter. Here are the Raiders now with Branch to the left, Bradshaw to the right, and a double wing, and Van Egan bumps his way up the middle, gets out to the 20-yard line on a gain of 5.
Number 30, Mark Van Egan. 5-yard gain. Tackle number 71, Presti.
Second down, about 5.5 now. The Raiders just inside the 20. Dalby breaks the huddle. Here's Branch to the left. Bradshaw out to the right. Back goes Stabler to pass. Four-man rush. Steps up. Gets rid of it to Casper over the middle on a crossing pattern. And he's out to the 26 before he's knocked down and a flag falls. And I think they've got a roughing penalty here against one of the Chargers. Lowe had him along with Stringer, who's back at right cornerback. Personal foul. 2 more Chargers came in on the play. One of them was Glenn Edwards, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler who was acquired late in the preseason and who is now in at one of the safety spots for Pete Shaw, who was injured on the special team. 15 yards. Let's catch the call here. It was on Stringer, one of the 2 tacklers. You know, the Raider fans think the Raiders are something special and recognize a special beer as well. They know Coors will consistently give them great natural beer taste. Make it yours. Make it Coors.
Pretty nice gain. Throw a shorty over the middle to Casper. He struggles for a first down, picks up 15 more and a personal foul.
Here's a handoff and coming up the middle, Van Egan with a big gain across the 50 and down to the 44-yard line. A quick hitter on the inside handoff. It was Edwards, the free safety, who got him. He was past the linebackers before they really realized where the ball was.
Horn that time stepped up in the hole to try to stop Clarence Davis. He went for the fake. He misread it and got knocked down again. You recall it was Horn that was out of position the last time. Van Egan made that big gain of 34 yards up the middle. So Kenny Stabler is either calling that play in a setup on first down or audibling to it.
Now he gives to Van Egan again, the second back through, but he is dropped that time by Big Hands Johnson at the 42-yard line. Trying to follow a pull block by Upshaw and Davis leading through. Gary Johnson led the team in sacks a year ago, the big guy from Grambling. He's the guy who ran back that 52-yard touchdown on an interception last week to save the game with Seattle. Their linemen ran back interceptions for 3 touchdowns last year. Dean had 2 and Jones had 1. Branch slots right inside Bradshaw. Casper, the tight end, is on the left side. Back goes Stabler to pass. It is 2nd and 8. He sidesteps. The flag goes down. He looks. He throws. Intercepted by the Chargers. It's Glenn Edwards out to the 40. Up the left side. Running out of bounds near midfield. I think Henry Lawrence had been caught for holding either Lawrence or Shell. I believe it was Lawrence on that flag drop.
Down on the field.
But now, if that's the case, the Chargers will decline the penalty and take the Edwards interception, and that's what they're going to do. And so the Raiders' 3rd turnover of the day, 2nd interception, 4th Stabler interception of the year, gives the Chargers the ball at midfield, and the Raiders are still not on track. They have scored but 1 touchdown in the last 11 quarters plus.
Glenn Edwards hasn't forgotten how to read that Raider look. Coming over from Pittsburgh here to the Chargers. He stepped right in front of the receiver that time to pick that ball off. He was the free safety. He just read Kenny Stabler's eyes when he threw it, went right to the football.
Now Fouts for the backs in the eye. A golden opportunity here. Play fake. No. Yes, he keeps it. Rolls out to the right, but he's pursued down from behind. Hot pursuit by Willie Hall, dropping him at the 40-yard line. He play fake bootleg very well, but Fouts is not a sprinter, as Monty pointed out, and with Hall having read the play and coming from the backside, he just ran him down. Loss of 7. It'll be second down, 17.
You almost have to have a good force either in a running situation or a passing situation, like on that play fake from your linebackers, because 5 guys can handle 3, especially with the new pass blocking rules.
Now they put Mitchell out in the slot to the left with Owens, and to the right is Rogers. They bring Owens back in motion to the inside. Fouts back to pass. Sets up. Looks. Lays it off to Klein. Interception, but dropped by Hayes. Holy Toledo. Hayes had a 42-yard gallop to a touchdown if they could have held on to that crazy-looking piece of leather. Lester is going through his own private agony in the public forum here before 52,596.
Heard that big ooh, ooh by the fans here. They knew Lester had one if he could have caught that ball. He's got a lot of tape on his arms, and he's really coached to knock the thing away or knock it down. Defensive backs have trouble catching the ball, and that's why they're backpedaling, defending against the pass.
3rd and 17. Joyner and Rogers out to the left. Back to pass Fouts. Looking. He fires. Going to Joyner. Overthrown. Broken up by Monty Johnson, who had him covered all the way. I think Fouts tried to throw it away, and Monty even had a crack at getting a piece of the ball. So now it'll be 4th down, and West comes in a punt. Raiders stymieing the Chargers here despite the turnover. Right now, the basic burden, I think, Monty, is on the offense to get consistency going and moving the football. And not only moving it consistently, but without the interruptions of a turnover.
Yeah, it's really a problem the way the Raiders have stopped themselves the last couple of games with drop balls and penalties. They could put something together here, get on a good long drive, something go 80 yards, 8-10 plays, would be great.
Here's a kick by West. It's a high hanger. Colby backs away, lets it bounce. It bounces laterally to neutral bounce across the 25, and it's covered and down by Hank Bauer. No relation, by the way, to the baseball figure of note. Timeout on the field. 8:05 to go. Raiders take over in the 3rd quarter. Scoreboard showing San Diego 13 and Oakland 7. Raiders will move from our right to our left here on their own 25-yard line. They continue. Bradshaw's played more than Biletnikoff actually today in playing time, I believe, Monty. He's in with Branch again. It's a hot day, but nothing like the heat we had in Denver last week, and there's a light breeze here.
Right, I think Kenny and John Madden think that they can burn these 2 cornerbacks. I think the way they match up with Stringert and Williams, they feel that they can get the deep stuff on them. Cliff got one. Bradshaw had one. He couldn't hold it. And a couple of times they've run the up where Kenny hasn't been able to get the ball away, so they're really putting the pressure on those cornerbacks.
Branch to the left, Bradshaw to the right. Double wing. Back is Stable on a play fake. Stepping up. A bomb to Branch. He sprints by Stringert. The ball is shot by Branch. Caught by Edwards on an interception out to the 40. Fights his way to the 50 and gets out of bounds. Another turnover. Branch got his hands on the ball. It lit him out just about right, but the ball popped out of his fingers. Edwards was there coming over from free safety after Branch had taken a step edge on Stringert, and Edwards gets 2 interceptions in less than half a quarter.
Well, his strength, Bill, is playing that center field, and he goes either side. On a long ball like this, he knows the ball can't get by him deep. Cliff had the ball, bounced out of his hands and into Edwards' hands. An opportunistic play again by Edwards. First, he deserved the interception. This one, he just got it luckily.
Joyner to the left against Jackson. To the right comes Jefferson against Hayes. Rogers lines up as a tight end. Back to pass now. Goes Fouts. Steps up. He looks. Throws toward Rogers. Makes a leaping catch. Knocked out of bounds. First and 10. 41-yard line of the Raiders. Another quick play for a fired up and very, very efficient San Diego Charger team.
Well, Jefferson must have got a good rest. And I'll tell you, I can't believe this kid. He was the best receiver they had in the preseason. He was top last week, and here he is today making the big catch as a rookie.
Why are car shoppers everywhere deciding on Datsun? Listen to new B210 buyer Vivian Hoskins.
I got a great deal. I was really satisfied with it.
Bob Picard, are you happy with your new Datsun 810?
I expected to find a very smooth piece of machinery. I wasn't quite prepared for how smooth it was.
Jerry and Janet Horn, like your new B210?
I like the gas mileage.
I like the dependability.
Paul Crawford, how's your new Datsun King cab?
It handles beautifully. It's very economical.
Marty Mendelson, how would you rate your new Datsun B210?
I think Datsun, quality-wise, is superior, far superior to the other cars.
Hurry in today and get a year-end deal on famous Datsun quality. We are dealing.
See your Datsun dealer now for a one-of-a-kind deal on a Datsun pickup, including the one-of-a-kind King. We are still not done with the third quarter. The clock inadvertently ran down, and now they have 6 seconds left in the third quarter. And here is Woods cutting over a right tackle on a first down play from the 41 down to the 37-yard line. And there's the gun sounding the end of 3. It is now officially at the end of 3. Do we keep it here, or what do we do? We'll break away. At the end of 3 quarters, the scoreboard shows Chargers 13, Raiders 7. I am reminded here in the booth that I said Rogers instead of Jefferson on that last completion just before the play that ended the quarter. So my apologies on that if I confused you. Jefferson has now caught 2 today for the Chargers. Matthews has caught 4 passes for San Diego. He's their top receiver. Fouts now is 14 of 22, 147 yards. Stabler 8 of 16. But Snake has only completed 2 of the last 8. He's been intercepted 3 times today. And the Raiders trail 13-7. Now here comes John Jefferson out to the left. To the right is Charlie Joyner. Find the tight end on the left side. The back's in the eye. Hand off to Matthews. Big hole on the left side. Down to the 30, 20, 15. Hit in the secondary. Hit one diving to the 9-yard line. A 28-yard sprint by fullback Bo Matthews as his line fired out on the left side, opened a big hole, and he was gone.
There's a double team on McCoy. A double team on McCoy, Bill. But McCoy broke the double team physically and held his ground. He looked to his right. There was a hole big enough to drive a truck through as Wilkerson wiped out Willie Hall. Just cleaned his clock.
First and goal to go, Chargers. Rogers and Joyner in a slot on the left side. Hand off to Hank Bauer. Short yardage man fights to the 5. He's hit on the 3. Still on his feet. Knocked down at about the 2-yard line. Hank Bauer, the unheralded kid from Cal Lutheran, who scored a touchdown from a yard out earlier. Carrying from the 9 down to about the 2. We'll see where they actually mark it. They put it on the 3. And now they're bringing Pat Curran in. They'll have double tight ends. They're also bringing Lawrence Bynes, a second year back into the ballgame. He's a good blocker and a good short yardage man. They'll try to drive that thing in here early in the fourth quarter. Woods and Matthews are the running backs. Bynes acts as a third tight end on a power formation to the left. Hand off to Matthews, leaps over a man at left guard, and then is really driven back by Monty Jackson's strong hit. We'll have to wait to see the spot where the progress is to the 2.5. It'll be third and goal. The Raider defense asked time and again today to come up with the big effort, yielding one of their few big plays on that gallop by Matthews. Matthews are the running backs. Power formation to the right. Hand off to Bauer, the second back. He dives. It is a touchdown, Chargers. A 65-yard scoring drive. Hank Bauer taking it the last 2.5 yards as the hole opened up on the right side. Matthews poured through as the lead back, and Bauer took it there with a stretch of the body. His second touchdown today.
I was going to keep the football. He likes what he's doing out there. He scored 2 touchdowns now from short yardage. And he's going to keep himself a football. Picked up the ball, took off with it. Raiders that time trying to fill the hole to get Matthews. He was a lead blocker. Didn't even know about Power coming through the ball, the second man.
Benesh just kicked good. And now the Raiders are in big trouble in San Diego. 12 minutes and 42 seconds to go on a day when the offense has been consistently thwarted. And the scoreboard shows the Chargers 20 and the Raiders 7. Bo Matthews has carried the ball 19 times for 84 yards today. This part of a phalanx of Charger heroes in the making. Benushka has to go re-tee the ball again. Now the Raiders have been in this kind of situation many times before, but seldom on a day when they have been defused so often by their own mistakes offensively. Can you get it back together in the remaining 12:42? Benushka's kick, kind of hooking crazily, taken, shot by Rodisky, picks it up on the 3, out to the 10, the 15, fights that past one tackle and is dropped in the 20-yard line by Keith King, specialist on the defensive and special teams, and now it'll be 1st and 10, 20-yard line. And here's just exactly, Sable's been intercepted 3 times today when he wasn't really in a catch-up situation. Now you're in what is a little closer to catch-up football, Monty, and they could really be coming now.
The biggest thing he has to do now is mix up the plays and still get some pretty good mileage out of them. Not that running off tackle, but he's going to have some draws, some screen passes, some swing passes.
Back to pass on 1st down, lays it off, and Van Egan drops the football out on the 15-yard line. He had 10, 15 yards of running room because they run a clean-out pattern with Branch that left the whole side of the field open.
Now that's got to kill a guy like Kenny Stabler. He had everybody covered. He read the defense perfectly. He knew where he wanted to go. He went to Van Egan. It would have been a good-sized gain. Van trying to take off before he caught the ball and get upfield. He knew he had the room. Just dropped the football. It really is a tough break for a guy like Stabler who wants to put a masterpiece together, yet his team won't let him.
Kenny drops back, sets up, big rush, fires one upfield, deflected by 2 Chargers and incomplete. He had Casper running a deeper pattern at the 40. Davis cutting one off underneath him at the 30. But the coverage was there and got a piece of it. It'll be 3rd down and 10. The Chargers' adrenaline is surging. The crowd is urging them on at every instant. Next week at Green Bay, it'll be a 10:30 ball game. Pacific time, broadcast time, 11 o'clock kickoff. And although they were rated as perhaps by a lot of people a patsy on the Raiders schedule, now they've started 2-0. Right here now, you've got Branch to the left, Bradshaw to the right, Saber back, steps up, looks, throws, Bradshaw makes the catch at the 37, he leads the tackler, goes to the 40, the 50, here comes Edwards, Edwards finally gets him from behind at the 42-yard line of the Chargers. 39-yard gain from Stabler to Bradshaw, as Bradshaw found an open area of his defense, and here comes Biletnikoff now for Morris.
Well, it was the double coverage on Branch to the far side that you talked about in the early part of the game, Bill. The whole defense for the Chargers leaning that way, double covering. Casper went to the sideline. That left Morris Bradshaw one-on-one with Mike Williams, and he ate him up on a deep turn-in.
Branch goes very wide left, Biletnikoff to the right. Back is Stabler to pass. He looks. Pumps once, twice, sidestep, throws it deep when he's got Biletnikoff. Here comes Edwards, who breaks it up at the 6-yard line. Meantime, way down on the other end, running it out and up out of the backfield was rookie running back Arthur Whittington. But the rush was strong enough that it occupied Kenny's attention. It would have been a very tough toss that way. It was hard to see.
Kenny looked that way at Arthur when he first came out of the backfield and started up the field. At that point, Arthur was covered. Then the rush made Kenny look back and come to his second receiver, which at this point was Biletnikoff. So he threw to Fred, and that's when Whittington broke open. If he could have just stayed with him a little bit longer, if the rush hadn't diverted his attention, it could have very well been a Raider touchdown.
2nd and 10. They've got Van Egan and Robisky in the backfield. Back to pass, Stabler. Looks, rifles one to Biletnikoff and misses. Fred made a turnout move at the 25 in front of Williams, the cornerback, with Lowe coming over as a linebacker to help. And the ball was led too far and out of bounds. Big Wilbur Young, former Kansas City down lineman, a 290-pounder who came over to this club in a trade, spells Leroy Jones now at left end defensively. The Raiders bring Banaszak and Bradshaw in. It's 3rd and 10. The ball in the 42. If they could get the ball in the end zone on this drive quickly, it would change the picture. They need a touchdown here, but now a big play. Branch goes left. Bradshaw and Biletnikoff slotting right. Remaining back is Van Egan. Stabler back to pass. Flag down. He looks. Rifles one down the middle, broken up. Stabler was hit as he threw the ball, trying to go to Casper over the middle. Flag was down earlier. It's a Charger penalty, I believe. It'll be an offside here. Excuse me, go ahead, Monty.
Casper really irate. He's been held a couple of times now by the linebackers, and he's complaining to his new official, the side judge.
Gary Johnson, the right tackle, was offside. It's now 3rd and 5. Van Egan in for Banaszak. Months of practice and preparation going to every game for the Raiders. At the Adolph Coors Company, they put 105 years of brewing experience into every can they sell. Make it yours. Make it Coors. The Raiders reeling, trying to get off the deck here. Branch to the left against Trinket. Biletnikoff to the right against Williams. In the slot on the right is Bradshaw. Back goes Silver. Here comes a big rush. He fires. Casper in the crowd. He stole it. And it's incomplete. Casper in a crowd of 3 defenders made a tremendous effort to get the football. It was in his hands for an instant, but a terrific hit. Shoulder the ball loose. Stabler was sent reeling backward by the onrushing pass rush of Leroy Jones. Boy, they have really had heat on Snake. Mike Fuller is the guy who got a hand in along with the terrific body contact on Casper, and it'll be 4th down and guy to punt.
Amazing thing to me about that whole thing was Casper was up off the deck after he was hit so hard that he had to cough up the football and chasing the ball, thinking it might have been a fumble. Heads up play.
Guy now with the ball at the 36 of the Chargers, 4th down. Probably angled for a corner or hang it up, one of the two. He angles for the left coffin corner. It curls off, and it will go out of bounds inside the 20, I believe, and I'm not sure where. Waiting for the official to mark it.
Wait a minute.
He puts it on the 19.
Wait a minute.
We've got a timeout on the field with 11:16 to go. The Chargers hold. And the scoreboard shows the Chargers 20, the Raiders 7. Chris Matthews gets away from a hard hit by Hendricks, but dropped by another Raider, Charles Phillips, and maybe play about a half-yard loss. It'll be 2nd down and roughly 10 to go. Dodson built the 280Z, strong enough, fast enough, beautiful enough, and affordable enough to make it the most popular sports car in the world. See your Dodson dealer now for a great year-end deal. Jefferson comes out of the ball game, and again the Chargers have that clock in their favor now. Johnny Rodgers and Joyner in a slot formation to the right. Bounce back to pass, sets up, looks, and it's batted down. He tried to go over the middle. Matuzak reached up while being blocked by Washington and batted it down. They wanted to hit Matthews on a circle. Now the Raiders come in with 4 down linemen, 6 defensive backs, I believe. Filios coming in here.
Again, it's amazing how that size up front for Oakland, people like Filios and Matuzak, formerly Dave Rowe, those real tall guys can get their hands up in those passing lanes, knock that ball away. It's really an asset.
Okay, they've got a 4-1-6, if you will. 3rd and 10 Chargers. Back goes Fouts, setting up. Time to throw. He delivers and misses Rodgers. Johnny Rodgers up at the 40, measuring that first down yardage necessary, but the ball led him too far and too high. It'll be 4th down. West will try to punt again, but they've bought a couple of minutes just by way of that roughing penalty.
Neil Colsey with Rodgers that time, and right on his back. That's why Fouts had to lead the ball out there a lot further. Now Colsey should, I think, at least from up here, should have a pat on the back. He's done very well as he's come in as the 5th back in place of Mike Davis.
Colsey back. Let's see what the Raiders try to get on, a block or a return. Line of scrimmage, the Charger 30. Masek will snap. There is the snap, and the punt is away. High end over ender. Colsey going to catch it. Does it to 28. Starts for a left return. There's 30, 35. Spurts up to it. Knocked down by Jerome Dove on a tackle at the 45-yard line. So it'll be an Oakland ball, 1st and 10 on their own 45 with timeout in the field and 8:44 to go. Scoreboard showing San Diego 20, Oakland 7. Now the Raiders with time shorter than in their last drive on their own 45. First down, Saber back to pass, sets up a screen and misses Manizak. So the two devices the Snake has used to try to take some of the sting out of the pass rush have both backfired. A swing pass and a screen pass, and neither succeeded.
Right into the pieces that he needs for the puzzle, Bill. They may seem small to most people, but when they misfire like that, the drop ball and the overthrown ball on the swing, well, how are you going to put the next 2 or 3 pieces together? You got to go deep, and that gives the Chargers a chance to get in their starting blocks again and really come in on that heavy pass rush.
Branch slots right inside Biletnikoff. Man in motion to the left. Out of the backfield is Bradshaw. Saber drops back. Rush is picked up. Here comes Dean. Saber throws. Bradshaw makes the catch. Hit by Stringer. I think he has the first down. It's very narrow right there at the 44 of the Chargers at the left sideline. Stringer, when Bradshaw went in motion, dropped way back off to cover deep. And then when the pass went to Bradshaw in a shallower zone, came up. And we don't have a first down indication yet. Waiting for the referee, and he's going to say a measurement. So they have to bring the chain gang clear across the field. When you decide to purchase a new color TV, a home videotape recorder, or a microwave oven, it's nice to know there's Quasar. Quasar, the world leader in electronic products for the home. The thing, of course, that was so important to the Raiders, if they could have gotten in the end zone the last drive,
right,
which would have left more time, now you had, assuming a conversion, 20 to 14, you got a chance to turn your defense loose, get the ball back, and drive for a score that could win the ball game for you if you convert again. Now, with less time, the Raiders have still got to accomplish the same thing. It is a first down.
Good thing about that measurement, it did stop the clock. The way Bradshaw was struggling there, if he hadn't gotten out of bounds or whatever, the clock is going to run. And
he didn't get out of bounds.
Right, and this is a real big help as it stops the clock. Every precious second counts now.
Double wing puts Bradshaw on the wing to the left. Saber back. Humps once. Fires one deep up the left side to Bradshaw. Makes the catch at the 10. The 5. Touchdown Raiders! A 44-yard strike. Bradshaw beats Stringer. On and out and up. A beautifully led pass. Stringer thought Bradshaw was staying at the sideline. Morrison slashed in a couple of strides toward the ball, made the catch. Stringer had thus got himself slightly turned around, and his pursuit was a fruitless effort.
Now, we talked about it before, Bill. Kenny Stabler's been trying to pick on Williams and Stringer all day long. His only problem is he hasn't had a few plays run the way he wants them to set that situation up, or he just didn't get the time to put that ball up. That time he had the time. Bradshaw adjusted to the pass. Kenny threw it inside, and he scored a touchdown. Beautiful play by Morris.
Arrow man to convert. Home to hold. Snap. Spot. Kick on the way. Good. Timeout on the field. 8:26 to go in the ball game. Scoreboard showing San Diego 20, Oakland 14. John Madden is having a long talk with one of the officials along the sideline, doing a lot of pleading, and there is no visible response from said striped shirt. Now Artie Owens will be back with Rogers. Guy will be kicking off. The field runs sort of diagonally here, a little bit southeast, and they're looking into a bit of a sun, but I don't think it's at the angle they receive the kickoff that it's really a problem. Now the Raiders defense has to come up with the big plays. Here's a high end over ender. Rogers drifts over. He's a speed runner. Has it on the 4. Out to the 10. To the left side of the 15. Gets the block. Turns it up to 20, 25, 30-yard line before he's brought down. Arthur Whittington got cut down, and it allowed Rogers to get to the outside and get a decent return.
Right, another rookie mistake. Whittington is supposed to go down the right side of the field. He's the last guy out there. He's supposed to turn the play in. He's not expected to make the tackle. That time, in an aggressive move, he went in to try and make that tackle, got cut down, and all he did was open the outside for a good return. You got to be more patient.
Now Joyner comes left. Jefferson to the right. Charger backs in the eye. Faust giving the ball here to Mitchell. Mitchell is hit and driven back. Browning stopped his progress to allow Monty Jackson and Monty Johnson to surge in and hit him. Might have gained a yard before the progress was reversed. Lydell Mitchell caught 71 passes last year out of the backfield. Second down, virtually 10 to go. Miami is murdering Baltimore 42-0 in the fourth quarter today. 49ers have taken a lead over the Bears in the fourth, 13-9. 14-9, 49ers. Three wide receivers this time, Rodgers being the addition. Man in motion to the left, to the right is Joyner. Stops back, got a lot of them to throw to. He fires, shook it out upfield by Phillips. He had Rodgers up at the 45-yard line. Charles Phillips coming over, flew through the air to break it up.
Rodgers getting up disappointed with himself for falling down, but it really wouldn't have mattered because Face had a good hand on that ball. He was coming over the top and would have knocked that ball down anyway.
Rodgers has caught 2 balls today. Fouts is 14 for 26, 161 yards. Has not been sacked, has not been intercepted. They have not turned over the football. Raiders have suffered 4 turnovers. Joyner to the left. Third down and 10. Jefferson to the right. Fouts back again. 4-man pattern. Drops it over the middle, and it's dropped by Woods, who was hit hard and tripped to the ball by Monty Johnson, the linebacker. Woods came out in a circle after the 3 deeper patterns were covered, and it was Monty on the spot, and it's 4th down and West to punt with 7:24 to go.
Super tackling technique that time by Johnson. He was coming over the right side and knocking the ball down, but with his backhand, his left hand, he came up under Woods' shoulders and knocked the ball away.
West has placed the ball away from Colsey uncannily well today. Colsey back on his 35. Line of scrimmage, the Charger 31. Snap. The kick away. High, twisting spiral away to Colsey's right, landing on the 35 and kicking out of bounds on the 33. That's where the Raiders will activate the football.
I noticed pretty good pressure that time by Ted Hendricks, but no pressure by Jeff Barnes. I guess he's been told to lay off. Can't take those kind of chances late in the ball game of roughing the kicker. The most unforgivable penalty of all is roughing the punter when they're going to give you the football.
Branch to the left against Stringer. Bradshaw to the right now against Mike Williams. Stabler gives to Van Egan. Slides outside left tackle, breaks through a knot, and then is stopped standing up. Chargers finally slam him down at about the same time the whistle blows it dead. Fred Dean held firm and wouldn't let him get by him along with Gary Johnson, and so it'll be second down. Mark had picked up about 3.5 before the contact, and he got 4 out of it.
Second down. That's a pretty nice first down conversion here with the team trailing, 6:52 to go. Instead of just dropping back to pass, let it go right at him, up on the ground. So in the second down now, it's a nice situation for Kenny. He went back to the ground to get his first puzzle piece together.
Bolitnikoff in, 3 wide receivers. Bradshaw lines up in the backfield. Branch and Bolitnikoff out to the right in a slot. Bradshaw in motion to the left. Stringer drifts out with him. Back to pass to Stabler. He looks, he fires and misses Casper. Slanting out on the left side under coverage by Good. Stabler got hit and driven backwards. Madden is staring from the sideline. They've brought in Jerome Dove for Stringer after Stringer got burned on the touchdown to Bradshaw in the last drive. Dove's a former Raider who intercepted 1 ball last year. He was an 8th pick of the Raiders in the draft of 1976 out of Colorado State. Now it'll be third down and 6. Hang on to your hat here. 6:25 to go. Slot left with Bradshaw in the backfield. In motion to the right. Stabler back to pass. He's looking. Slides away from the pressure. Throws. Casper can't hold it. Same play, opposite side of the field. Mirror image. Running the slant out against Good. And so it'll be 4th down and the punting team comes on.
The strategy on the play is to have Bradshaw go in motion, get up the field, a man coverage, and clear out the flat for Casper. Casper delays, starts to go downfield, tries to keep Good, the linebacker, on his inside, then breaks to the sideline. Good has caught around to that quite well now. He's covered the pass play very well the last 2 times, so it misfired. Good theory, but Good has come from really in a sinking situation to coming up smelling like a rose.
Dropping back is Fuller on the 20. The snap. Guys punt away. It's a low boomer. Fuller drifting back, takes the catch, makes the catch on the 8. Out to the 10. Straight up the middle, 15. Brushes off one man, and then Rob Martin drops him on a low knee-high tackle around the 21-yard line. So the Raiders get nothing. A minute and a half expires during that possession. The Chargers have it back. They'll want to move the ball, but keep it on the ground as much as possible. The clock theoretically is their friend if they can keep the ball moving. Joyner goes left. Jefferson to the right. South got to pass on first down. Looks to the left, lays out a screen. He's got Woods behind the screen at the 20, the 25, and he's knocked down at the sideline by Jackson at the 30. It looked like a screen, Monty, but really the blockers didn't come all the way out. He was really on his own.
What happened was Phil Filippiano had come across and had really read that screen well. All of a sudden, Phil was standing in the screen. So Danny Fouts just played it nice. He let Woods go on out and turn upfield. Phil was still waiting for the pass to be thrown. He felt he had done a good job. But then all of a sudden his man, Don Woods, turned upfield and caught the pass. So it was an adjustment off a short screen.
6 minutes to go. They've got Rogers to the left now. And Joyner to the right. 2nd and inches. Give the ball to Woods trying to go outside left. He was hauled out from the backside by Hendricks on a good play, and he didn't make the first down.
And off the down Woods.
So it'll be 3rd, and again, probably less than a yard, around the 30-yard line.
Over the years, Bob Klein with the Rams and now with the Chargers at 6'5", 245, has been one of the top tight ends in the league. He's got that size to screen off linebackers, to hook them, to block them, to knock them down, to do pretty much what he wants to do. Today, he has yet to block Ted Hendricks. He has not blocked him yet. You know that Ted goes to the strong side with that tight end every time, and Hendricks has just completely annihilated the 9-year veteran Klein.
We had first a 13-9 and a 14-9 score on the 49ers. It is 13-9. Because it was, apparently, that's what's on the scoreboard here. It's been a very confusing day for those other scores. I don't know. Here's double tight end, triple tight ends for the Chargers now. 3rd and inches. Hand off to Matthews. He's got it. Just powers over the left side. Out to the 32, 33-yard line. We had Barnes and Curran in front of him. Phillips just stuck his nose in there and did the best job possible, but the momentum drove the ball out for a 3-yard gain. 1st and 10 Chargers now, 5:20 to go, and the clock begins to move seriously against the Raiders.
This is the down. This is the series that you really want to stop them, Bill. Out here at the 35-yard line, they pick up one here. They can really operate. But if you can force in a punt here, at least the Raiders would get the ball in good field position. But this is a key series.
Jefferson and Joyner in a slot formation to the right. Stout's going to pass on first down. Looks, goes way up to Joyner on the right side. Makes the catch. First down at the 48. Hit immediately on the play by Lester Hayes, who's covered. Joyner lined up outside on the slot formation.
Perfect offensive play. Joyner and Fouts teaming up in great timing on a deep outside drop pattern by Joyner. Good coverage by Lester Hayes. Not good enough because of a perfect pass. Right at the sidelines, Danny fired that one.
John Madden has the phones on over in the sideline. 4:20 to go and ticking. Rogers slots inside. Joyner to the left now. Ball just short of the 50. Here comes a handoff to Woods. Gets by a blitzer. Brings it upfield. Past the 50 down to the 46. Monty Johnson came on a blitz, but he was an eyelash late as Woods had departed. And so it'll be 2nd down.
Again, Bill.
And about 4.
Again, Bill, it could be that the Raiders are wilting a little bit here. They've had some big men up front play most of the way. They haven't had the depth where they could spell their men. Joe Filippiano bent over. He can't get any there at all. He's played a long time today, every play, except for a couple of passing downs where he's been substituted for over a cornerback, but he's been on a lot of the running plays, and he's hurting right now.
Jefferson goes left. Joyner to the right. Tight end Klein on the right side. Handoff goes to Bauer. Bauer diving over one man and hit by Matuzak. I think he's got a first down. It's not as awfully close. Slanting off right tackle. Ed White was out there that time. Russ Washington.
Tackle by number 72, John.
And they're eyeballing the ball now. And if it's a first down, only 3:15 to go. It is. Chargers not only keeping the clock moving, but they're moving in Raider territory. And even if they give it up, it would be farther and farther away from pay dirt for the Raiders. We're being inched into a desperation situation now. Right now, they can't even get their hand on the football. So reminiscent of the Denver series, because for years the Chargers couldn't win. Now they're on the verge of winning the last 2 games they played against the Raiders. Joyner to the left, Rogers to the right. Back goes Faust. Monty Johnson coming on a blitz, but he's picked up. Faust completion out in the left flat. Receiver is dropped immediately. That's Woods drifting out, hit by Monty Jackson, but he picks up yardage to the 37. So you've got about a 4.5-yard gain. Call it roughly 2nd and 5. Chargers keep shuttling people in and out. They've got Mitchell coming in the backfield for Woods now.
I'll tell you, it's tough on those defensive backs, especially the cornerbacks, when all of a sudden you look up, there's one guy, here's Jefferson, and all of a sudden there's Roger, then there's a guy coming out of the backfield. You really have a tough time remembering what patterns will run on you by 3 or 4 different people.
Joyner goes left, Jefferson to the right. Coming up toward the 2-minute mark. Handoff to Matthews. Creamed that time by Matuzak, who just punched his way across the line of scrimmage and dropped him at the 40. Toomey coming in to create a 4-man front. It'll be 3rd down and about 8. And a 2-minute warning going to both benches. Timeout on the field. Scoreboard showing 2 minutes remaining to play. Chargers 20, Oakland 14. Time is still out. Raiders coaching staff talking with Monty Johnson over on the sideline. The time is ticking down, and there's precious seconds now, and the Chargers with 3rd and 8. If they come up with the first down play here, they have really gotten over perhaps one of the last hurdles. If they fail, they'll punt and still keep the Raiders back and still have an upper hand, to say the very least. Turnovers today have been the difference. The Chargers have played zero-defect football in that sense. The Raiders have given up a fumble and 3 interceptions, and in the long run, that may have been too much to overcome. The Raiders have Willie Brown in the secondary, and Colby. Colby comes in for Hayes. 4-man front. Joyner goes left for the Chargers. Jefferson to the right. Split backs. Rogers lines up at tight end on a draw play. Here's Woods running and cut down on a slant to the left. 3 Raiders touched him. Matuzak, Toomey, and Monty Johnson, and the punting team comes in with the clock still running. Remember now, Security Pacific Bank has over 500 offices to serve you in California. That's really security in numbers. By the time West gets a punt off here, the Raiders will have precious little time left, and they'll be almost a full distance to the field from the score that could tie it up. Colby back on the 10. The line of scrimmage is the 37. Chargers letting that clock run right down to the last 3 seconds. There's the snap. Punt away, a high lofter toward the left sideline. Drifting out of bounds inside the 20, I believe. We'll see where the mark is. 19 and a half. And so with 1 minute and 7 seconds to go, the Raiders are hanging in the ropes. They are 80 yards plus from the payoff. And if they fail to come up with a miracle drive in that short a time, they will have started the season 0-2. It has happened before, but not in a year when the division was as powerful, as evenly matched, with rising young teams of real quality, and a situation that then means that even if you win over that team like Denver and San Diego later, you still have to have somebody else in the division knocking them off to make your way to a title, no matter what you do. And still ahead, after the Green Bay trip, the 3rd straight road game next week, comes a home opener against that hard-nosed New England team, then a game in Chicago against the Bears, and then coming back to meet Houston and Kansas City, neither of which are what you call Pepsis at this point. Stabler will have Biletnikoff in the game. Bradshaw, and Branch. They'll go with 3 wide receivers, 1 legitimate running back, and Mark Van Egan.
Worst part about a situation like this, Phil, you got to get a touchdown. It's not a situation where you can get the ball in a field goal position for an Earl man kick to win it. You got to get the deep 6 and then the conversion, and that makes it all that much tougher.
Plus, your secondary is going to be taking deep drops here, without a doubt. Here's a slot right, Branch and Biletnikoff. Tabor back to pass. Hunt steps up, throws now to Casper. He can't quite reach it. Casper slanting out again on the left side. Had a step on Horn, but it led him a little too much. He got one hand on it, but couldn't hold. Second down.
It's ironic, Bill. You talked about Casper having the possibility of linebackers covering him all day. That situation started out beautifully for Oakland as Kenny Stabler hit Casper time and time again in the early going. He set up a touchdown with one and then hit him for a touchdown another time. Now that linebacker situation on Casper has worked for San Diego as the Oakland Raiders have misfired 3 times in a row on it.
Tabor now 11 for 27. Kenny back to pass again. Desperation time. Throws the left side. It's broken up, but then caught by Bradshaw. He tries to get out of bounds and does. The quarterback picked up Bradshaw, floated the ball into the air, but Morris caught it with good concentration. A first down. The clock stopped. The ball in the Oakland 33. We have 54 seconds left. By the way, they had Wilbur Young in at left hand, a fresh rusher on that play.
Drama continues now among the receivers and the defensive backs. Who can get out of bounds and who can keep them inbounds? That time, the defensive back was trying to keep Morris inbounds to keep the clock going, but Morris fought his way across the sideline.
3 wide receivers. Back goes Tabor. Bills went over the middle. He's got Banaszak at the 40, 45. Hit goes down at the 47. They haven't called a timeout yet. Yes, they do now. Time is stopped at 45 seconds to go in the game. The ball on the 46-yard line of the Raiders. They're still 54 big yards away from the Magic Land.
Chargers going in double zone that time, covering the outside receivers short and long, not just to get 2 men on the great receivers on the outside, but also to fend that receiver if he catches the ball near the sidelines back inbounds. They get more tacklers out there, tackle a guy inbounds, keep the clock going. Kenny had to come off that defense, throw to Banaszak over the middle, and of course that cost a timeout. But it's a good place to call a timeout. Around midfield, now the Raiders can regroup. They can set up a series of 2 or 3 plays as they try to get down into the end zone with just 45 seconds left. Again, it's going to be the defense trying to keep that clock going. The clock is the enemy of Oakland right now.
Nobody leaving this stadium. Over 52,000 capacity house today. The Chargers leading 20-7 now, are leading only 20-14, and the Raiders have that thin thread left. Casper is not in there now. They've got Raymond Chester in at tight end. He lines up on the left. Bradshaw right behind him. Branch and Biletnikoff in a slot to the right. Back is Stabler. Pumps once to the right. Comes back over the middle. He's got Chester at the 30. Upended at the 26-yard line. Timeout Raiders. And the thread is still intact.
Chester did a beautiful job of getting away from Good. Good was head up on him. He knew he had him in the coverage. He bumped him. And Chester worked by him and just went down the field. It was the same play that Kenny tried to hit Casper on in the first half, and he overthrew him. However, that time, Kenny threw the ball in towards the middle more, so it was an easier pass for Chester to catch. Chester in there, very fresh off the bench. It could be very key to this situation. Casper has over 100 yards just in catches. He's run a ton of patterns. He probably is tired. So a fresh Chester right now could very well be better than a tired Casper.
Now, of course, you get down here where the coverage gets tougher. But the Raiders know also that there must be an apprehension rippling through the consciousness of this San Diego team.
Their backs are up against it, I'll tell you. No matter how this thing goes, San Diego is going to be drained. The Raiders will be drained, I think, more physically. They've had a tough road to hoe. I think the other team, the Chargers, have been up more mentally. It's just an observation. It doesn't have to be true.
A touchdown would tie it, and the conversion could win it. Stabler is conferred with Madden. Chester remains in. Bradshaw in the backfield with a slot right, putting Branch inside Biletnikoff. Stabler back. Gets up, goes deep, and overthrows Chester. He couldn't quite outrun the distance as the ball fell in the end zone. He ran it out and up against Good, who did a whale of a job to stay with him. Kenny wanted to lead it enough so that Good didn't have a shot at it, but Chester couldn't get there either. 28 seconds left.
Man on the pan is Good again. He was torn apart early by Casper. Now he's had his problems with Chester. He had good coverage on Casper a couple of times as Raymond comes back in now. Raymond goes out and Dave comes back in.
Madden mopped a fevered brow as he sent Casper in. 28 seconds to go. Hang on. Bradshaw to the left in a double wing. Branch and Biletnikoff on the right. The crowd roars. Saber back. Pumps once. Now he throws. Biletnikoff comeback dive catch on the 14-yard line. The clock is running. They have only a one timeout left. The clock has stopped. A body stretching catch by Biletnikoff. He was Stabler's last hope on that series of patterns. Meantime, over on the other side of the field, Bradshaw's bent over on the 5. I don't know if Morris was open or not. I really didn't watch him.
I think he's just out of breath. He's been running a long way today. If you could have put a pedometer on him, I bet you he's run a few miles, and not of the jogging variety either. He's really been running around that field under full go. Fred, a beautiful catch to come back that time. You know how he likes to get down low. Kenny probably leads him back better than anybody because he adjusts better than most of the receivers to that low ball.
Stabler's now 15 for 32. His gross yards are over 300 unofficially, but he has been shot 3 times for 37 yards lost, which would keep it under 300 net. And now we're just getting down to the 16-second mark. Forget field goal. That would do you nothing. The ball on the 14-yard line. The Chargers have Jones up front. He and Young have been alternating at left end. Kelcher, Johnson, Dean. They're not going to a special backfield alignment. It's just 3 linebackers, a 4 defensive back. Branch to the left, Biletnikoff to the right, 2 running backs, Robisky and Banaszak. They keep Banaszak in the block. Stabler left, throws to Biletnikoff, leaping, try, incomplete, deep right corner of the end zone. Fine play by Mike Williams. They went up in tandem, almost as if they were Siamese twins, and both may have actually had flesh on the football.
Two receivers on the right side that time, 3 defenders for San Diego. Played kind of a zone, Bill, saying you'll take the inside man, I'll take the outside man. That's the way they did it, and it paid off for them.
10 seconds left. Biletnikoff out, Bradshaw in the ball on the 14. Oakland trails 20-14. The crowd takes up a chant of defense. Robisky and Banaszak are the back. Slot right. Branch inside. Bradshaw. Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw? He can't. The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Casper grabbing the ball. It is rolled a fumble. Casper is recovered in the end zone. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Stabler, while being hit, the ball squirted forward. Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. They said yes. Get your big butt out of here. He does. The ball went wildly bounding inside the 10. No throws on the field. Stabler is ruled to have been hit and fumbled. Banaszak knocked the ball forward. It bounded crazily. I'm looking at a replay now. Ultimately, Casper fell on it in the end zone. On the replay, you see Banaszak go after it. It's knocked away as he shovels it forward. It's bounding inside the 5. Casper flips it with the fingers and falls on it. And I have to tell you, I think Kenny Stabler threw the ball away. Belt high with a little slip and got away with it.
I'll tell you what. I think Kenny threw the ball away and got away with it. I think Banaszak fumbled it forward, but on all of that, Casper still had the presence of mind to get it in the end zone.
Here it is. The kick by Man. It's up. It's good. There's no time left. There's nothing real in the world anymore. The Raiders won the football game. 52,000 people minus a few lonely Raider fans are stunned. The Chargers are standing, looking at each other, looking at the sky. They don't believe it. Nobody believes it. I don't know if the Raiders believe it. It's not real. A man would be a fool to ever try and write a drama and make you believe it. And now, this one will be relived forever. bitterly here in San Diego, joyfully in Oakland. Final score, Oakland 21, San Diego 20.
Standing around in their seats, they're milling around near the exits right now, and they cannot believe what has happened. I don't think anybody else can either. Bill King did a beautiful job of describing the way that fumble that covered a time of 10 seconds or more and a length of 14 yards to give the Raiders a win. He did a beautiful job of describing it, but if you didn't see it, I'll tell you, get to somebody's newscast tonight, preferably KGO television, and see that miracle finish. You've got to see it. It's unbelievable. And if you're a KGO listener in San Francisco, the Bay Area, Montrose will have a slight comment on that at the end of this wrap-up. First of all, let's get to the scoring. It was kind of a feeling out process by both teams in the first period. There were no scores. A couple of turnovers here, and neither team could take advantage of them. But then in the start of the second quarter, it was San Diego getting on the board at 14:55. It was a 13-yard pass, bounced to Curran. And you remember I talked about it at halftime. It was a deflected pass off Mike Davis, and Curran caught it and scored the touchdown. It followed a interception of Kenny Stabler by Stringer. The score 7-0 at that point. The Raiders bounced back just moments after that, going 77 yards in just 4 plays. It was a 6-yard pass to Casper, crossing in the end zone that had the touchdown. The time 12:08, score 7-7, and a 41-yard pass to Branch, it was Branch, and a 39-yard pass to Casper set up that TD. Then Hank Bauer went over from a 2-yard line on a plunge at 5:36 in the second period. It was an 80-yard drive this time by San Diego. Pass interference call on Monty Jackson at the 2 set up that TD. And then Fred Steinfort, the guy that was with the Raiders last year and who kicked a field goal to beat Oakland for the first time in 11 tries here in San Diego, turned out to be the GOAT. As he missed, he hooked a short extra point try, and it was 13-7. Then in the third quarter, no score again as the teams came out and just kind of battled each other to a standstill. The scoring resumed in the fourth period. San Diego, another 2-yard plunge by Hank Bauer this time. A drive that went 65 yards. It was 12:42. The score 20-7. And it was a first down on an illegal chuck by Hayes that helped keep the drive going, and a 28-yard run up the middle by Bo Matthews. The Raiders bounced back at 8:26 to go. They had a 44-yard strike, Stabler to Bradshaw on an out-and-up pattern. It was 20-14 at this point. Bradshaw caught another turnout on that drive for a first down to keep things going, and that drive covered 55 yards. Then, with the game seemingly over for Oakland, 10 seconds left on the clock, they're at the 14-yard line. Kenny Stabler dropped back to pass. He got kicked out of the pocket. He was rushed. He went down. I think he threw the ball. He was trying to get the ball to Banaszak. It was ruled a fumble. Banaszak, meanwhile, picked the ball up, or at least tried to, and it looked like, if you know rugby, a knock-on. He just, he seemed to dribble the ball forward, and all of a sudden it bounced in front of Dave Casper. Casper started to bobble it a little bit, then probably realized he had just crossed the goal line, so he fell on it, and they ruled that a touchdown. Now again, did Kenny Stabler fumble the football, or was he trying to throw it to Banaszak? Did Banaszak knock the ball forward, or was he trying to pick it up and run with it? Casper, of course, didn't worry about any of it. He fell on it for the touchdown. I believe that the officials blew the call. Who cares? Oakland wins, and it could be poetic justice for some of the things that have gone on in the past against Oakland. Now down to Bill in the, I'm sure, elated, joyous Raider locker room.
Well, it wasn't just total elation, Monty. It was more than that. There was, I think, mixed reaction. All of it on the joyful side, but some of it was a matter of, I maybe would say 5 minutes elapsing before the total realization really began to dawn on everybody here. Some guys just sort of lay back in a state of collapse for a little while, both physically and mentally. One of them was Morris Bradshaw. He'll be with us in a few moments, and we have more in a moment. Morris Bradshaw finally unlacing his shoes. He's still in uniform right now. When I came in here 5 minutes or so after the end of the game, he was over in the floor of the training room, sort of halfway propped up against the wall like a puppet on whom everyone had released the strings. Morris had a great day. I think 5 catches. Statistics, in a sense, elude me to a great degree right now. Morris, the final play, and we saw the replay, and I don't ask you to comment on that aspect of it. Kenny Stabler, so typical of the Raiders. You do everything you can, even if there's no time left, and the time had almost run out. He was going to, it looked like, take a sack. We could see on the replay that he flicked the ball away from his belt forward, hoping that something would happen, and of course the impossible, the real miracle did happen. Where were you when the play developed? You'd run a pattern, but I don't even know where you were now.
Bill, I don't remember where I was either. I ran across the field, and I saw Snake scrambling out of the pocket, and I saw the ball come out, and I didn't even know really where he threw it from. I just saw it come out, and I saw Pete Banaszak go for the ball, and I saw him toss it or whatever, fumble it, and then I saw Dave Casper trying to pick it up. And then he fell on it in the end zone, and it was such an unbelievable play. I just fell out on the field. I still don't believe it.
Well, we looked at the replay before we came down here. Rooster came for the ball, sort of trying to scoop it up low at full tilt. A Charger dived in, ran into him, and in instinct fashion, Rooster sort of shoveled it forward. And then Casper saw the ball bouncing toward the goal line, and he started to try grabbing it down low, almost diving on his chest, and sort of shoveling it along in front of him, and went into the end zone. That's where he flopped on it. Now, I looked up at the clock. There was no time left. I still wasn't sure whether they'd ruled it a sack and an incomplete pass or a fumble.
Right.
And then the officials, 2 hands shot in the air, and that was the first time that I really thought there was a good chance that it would be called a live ball. And at that point is when all of you, of course, were just, I think, as much in the dark as anybody. Now, one thing before we go further about specifics of the game, in all of this, rather lost, I think, is the fact that after the confusion and everybody was cleared, there was still a matter of a 20-20 game, and a guy named Mann came in with all that pressure and booted it through the uprights. Up to now, nobody's mentioned it, except I noticed you gave him a big hug a moment ago.
Oh, yeah. Earl is just a fantastic guy, and I'm really glad that he got that opportunity to show some people that he can kick a football.
Talking with Morris Bradshaw, someone has been in outer space until now, just tuned in. The Raiders won 21-20 over the Chargers, and the most unlikely, unbelievable play you'll ever see, one that couldn't be recreated, and one that probably, on the strictest and purest sense, was illegal, but the officials would in no way could see whether Stabler actually fumbled or perhaps flipped the ball away as would-be sackers surrounded him, and time was running out in the last gasp for the Raiders. And then the ball picked up eventually by Casper and shoveled. Casper jokingly went by a while ago and said, that's what you call a shovel pass. He shoveled it the last couple of yards in front of him and then fell on it in the end zone. And this will be so controversial. The Chargers, perhaps with great justification, will be embittered by the whole thing when they look at replays and films. But the Raiders feel like there is poetic justice after some of the things that happened up in Denver a week ago. Morris, playing as much as you did as a wide receiver today, of course, that pulls you off the special teams. Do you miss the special team work when you're not on it?
That's a loaded question. You know, I really wasn't fond of covering kicks and that because I really wanted to play a wide receiver, and I wanted to be a wide receiver. And, you know, that's always been my thing since I got drafted here. But now that you sit back and you're contributing more to the offense, and you're able to sit back and see the special teams perform, now is when I really appreciate the significance and the value of good field position and good punt coverage, good punting, good kickoff coverage, and a good kickoff return. And I tell you, I don't really know whether I miss it or not, but I really appreciate it. I can really appreciate it.
Say one thing, you're sort of emerging now with Fred getting more rests in the ball game and situations calling for 3 wide receivers too. At this point in your career, at a very opportune time, I think, this is going to be one hell of a rugged football season with 16 games and the kind of division this is right now. After 2 games, you must feel like a whole season has been packed into 2 Sundays.
Well, I guess statistically, I'm way ahead of my pace for the last few years.
You're way ahead of your career.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right, Morris, go get that shower right now if you can walk there on rubbery legs. And congratulations. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Morris Bradshaw, our guest here. I'm told that John Madden, as he addressed the writers right after the locker room was open, said that I know this is going to be a controversial play. He actually did not see what went on in the field. He asked me at one point what it appeared to be. He, of course, came out like almost all the Raiders, all the Chargers, and the Charger and Raider coaches clear out toward the goal line to really see what it was all about out there. Because after this wild melee, in which it appeared to be a loose football on the ground, nobody knowing why or where. Suddenly the official's hands went into the air, and there are very few people, I think, on either ball club who could really believe that indeed a touchdown had been scored. Well, here in the Raider locker room, I think I just want to say a couple of things before wrapping it up. Number one, when people ask me sometimes in an interview form about doing Oakland Raider football, my general reply is that doing Oakland Raider football is probably the most exciting job in all of the National Football League. A team that has been the winningest in the last 15 years and the last 10 years, and I've been doing them for 13 years, but it's more than just that. When you have winning football games, of course, it's generally more interesting football, and there's a more positive, emotional aspect to the whole thing. But beyond that is the incredible do-or-die, bizarre, unworldly series of things that I can go back to in my mind that have occurred over these 13 years involving the Oakland Raiders. Perhaps none more bizarre than this ball game today. And to have been the broadcaster for any other football team for 13 years could not have ever approached the incredible feeling of coming into a stadium any Sunday afternoon when the Raiders are playing. Because, you know, it's sort of like the silver and black against the world, and something is going to happen that day that is going to be highly dramatic, highly controversial, highly emotional, and often highly bizarre. I'm very happy about having been in this particular seat for some 13 years, and I don't foresee that in the remainder of this 14 games to play in this campaign that there'll probably be any cessation of that same sort of aura that swirls around the collective heads of the Oakland Raiders. Well, it's 21-20, and one other point I want to make. Can you imagine anybody who feels worse right now than the kid who was drafted by the Raiders last year, who battled the old man for the kicking position, who was the last cut at that spot, hooked onto the Chargers, did a great job, had a string of 13 consecutive field goals coming in today. Ralph Panushka suddenly went sour, missed a 28-yard field goal, and then the first conversion. He made the next two, but it was either way you look at it, the missed field goal and or the missed conversion that allowed the Raiders to be within striking distance. Another of the various facets, the many facets of a game that ends like this on such an emotional and also controversial note. We'll be with you at 10:30 in the morning, Pacific time, from Raider Green Bay next Sunday. Kickoff at 11. The Packers are 2-0, and they're feeling their oats, a very young team. But young teams get emotional and sometimes are able to prevail over a more experienced and heavily favored team. It should be an interesting afternoon in Green Bay, and I hope you'll join us then. This edition of Raider Locker Room Report has been brought to you by Del Webb's newest Sahara Reno, where you can follow the stars, and by your 15 Bay Area Buick dealers. Lease a new Buick Regal with V6 turbocharged engine today. And if anybody dares play the last few seconds of that broadcast, I cringe to hear. I'm not sure at all if I knew what was going on. I'm not sure anybody did. Final score, Oakland 21, San Diego 20. Until next Sunday, Bill King speaking. This is the Oakland Raiders Football Network.